would have wondered, like, where do we come from? Where did all this come from? Why am I here? I would have started getting into that. Even if I never read a Bible, I probably asked, why am I here? What's my purpose? That type of stuff like that would have. I think that stuff would have ran through me, even if I never saw a Bible.
Right. And if somebody told you that man came from clay and dust and woman came from the guy's rib while he was taking a nap, that would make sense to you?
Like if I never read the Bible?
Well, I mean, like if I told you that, like you take credence in this because it came from the Bible, which you give authority to. I don't give authority to it anymore, although I did for most of my life, thus far anyway. But like if I just told you that, like let's say we're kids on a playground when you first discover this story, and we're in third grade together, and we're pals on the playground, or maybe nemesises, and I say, hey, you know where man and woman came from, right? And you're like, where? And I go, man came from dust, and woman came from the man's rib. Would you think that was logical, or would you think that's pretty nutty?
I would think that they would be proving it by actually standing in front of me talking to me. Like that would prove it.
How would me standing in front of you or Joyful standing in front of you prove that we came from clay and ribs?
Because you're here. And then the next question would be, where did clay come from?
Okay, so do you believe... So you believe the Genesis account of how things happened, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so were animals created before or after humans?
Well, they're the same thing according to the Bible.
Well, no, that's not true. So, were the beasts of the field... Well, we'll just start over. Were the beasts of the fields created before or after humans?
They're the same thing.
All right, we'll try this one more time. In the beginning, in Genesis, it makes a distinction between the beasts of the fields and humans, right?
You mean that the fact that we can?
Are you going to obfuscate from all the questions, or are you going to actually answer and engage?
I'm engaging, but it's kind of like you're trying to make humans and animals different.
Okay, so the Bible, let me read you something, and then you tell me if the Bible says that they're different. This is unbelievable. This person's never even read the beginning of his book, but he believes it. Alright, Genesis 1. He says, right here, let's see, we'll, let every, fill the water with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth and across. So God created creatures of the sea, and every living thing in which the water teems, and that moves about in it, according to their kind. Okay, so, and then he made birds, right? You understand that? And then he makes livestock and the creatures that move along the ground. Okay, and this isn't the day he makes humans. It says he made all the wild animals and all the creatures that move along the ground. And then he made humankind. So, are they the same thing, or does God make a distinction between the two?
We both have breath. When that breath leaves, you die, you know?
That's not what I asked you. Does God make a distinction between the livestock and the humans?
Yeah, the fact that we're made after the image of God. A dog isn't.
Okay, so was the livestock made before or after humans?
On the same day they were created. I told you they're the same.
Were they created before or after humans?
On the same day.
Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, I'll go with it. I'll go with it.
Why are these questions so hard? I don't understand why they're like. I get confused by questions that are really difficult, but not easy questions.
Yeah, but he won't answer the question because it literally gives an order in which they were created. But he doesn't want to answer because he knows that that's going to screw up his whole thing here.
On the sixth day.
Okay, so let me. All right. That on the sixth day, right?
Yeah.
On the sixth day they were created. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second. What was created first? Livestock or humans?
They were created on the same day.
It doesn't matter if they were created on the same goddamn day. I asked which one was created first according to the Bible.
Well, you have to go by the day. Everything God did in that day.
Nope. There's
still an order.
There is still an order he gives on the way he created things in each day.
Look at verse 31.
Yep. Verse 31.
Everything that he had made. Yeah, everything he had made was in that day.
No, not in that day. He was talking about all of his creation throughout 6 days. Again, Heavenly, you've never read your fucking Bible. He is, in verse 31, he is talking about all of the creation, not about that day. Now, I'm going to ask you again, in the Bible, does it say that this is going to be your last chance, and then I'm just going to move on.
Don't give me any. Don't give me any.
I'll just move on if you won't be honest. I really will.
That's fine. You can go ahead and blaspheme God. Go ahead.
Okay. What order did God create livestock and humans?
Is your wife okay?
Yep. Couldn't be honest. And
I love how he says like they were created the same day. It would be like joyful if you and I shared a birthday the same year and everything. One of us still had to be born before the other, right? Even if it was 1 second before. We wouldn't
Misery,
say
nice
the
to
same
see
day
you.
Period. So.
Yeah, all right. Let me see how this works. So, fusion. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello?
You can't hear me. You're gonna have to...
I can hear you.
Dude, just not today. All right. Christ Apologetics. You asked to be brought up, and I brought you up. What's up? What do you got?
Okay. So
Well, how old are you, first off?
Firstly, I'm 19, and I'm a Catholic.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay. So, why do you assert that God does not exist in your background?
Because he doesn't exist. I do not believe that he does exist. I believe that it is logically incoherent that a God exists.
Okay, why do you assert that he does not exist?
Because it's logically incoherent. Do I need to say it a different way?
It's not logical because it's a fallacy.
Yeah, the properties of your God are contradictory.
No, they're not. But if you want to first
they are.
argue, if you're saying because God does not exist, if you're asserting that claim, then you're claiming something that is illogical. If you assert that God does not exist without any logical evidence, then
I do have logical evidence. You haven't even asked for it. You're just asserting that I don't have logical evidence.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy that you're just asserting my viewpoint?
You can't prove that something does not exist if they do not
I can
exist.
prove that it logically cannot follow, therefore it's illogical, therefore there's no reason to believe that it does exist. It's the same way. Does the tooth fairy exist?
Hey, look.
Christ, answer my question. Does the tooth fairy exist?
The tooth fairy is not God.
Does the tooth fairy exist? I asked you a question. You're going to answer it before we move on. Okay, you can't prove a negative. Christ, you can't say that. That's illogical for you to say because you can't prove something doesn't exist. Do you see how that's foolish to say?
Do you know that argument from ignorance is also foolish to say?
There is no argument from ignorance that's happened here besides you asserting things that aren't true.
You're asserting that God does not exist. That is a logical fallacy.
No, it is not.
Christ, why do we
Yes,
flip
it
it
is,
around on
because
you? What
that-
is your overwhelming evidence that God is real?
because
How about that? Let's put the burden on
There's
you.
more.
You want to put the weight on us.
There's more evidence to Christianity than there is to atheism, because atheism
No.
is an assertion. It's a faith system. It's quasi
No, it's not.
No.
religious.
No.
Yes, it is. Look,
Christ,
when
you are an
claim that
idiot if you think
something
that. So listen, do you believe in... Hold on. Do you believe that you are saved through faith?
Before you call me
Christ,
an idiot, you should
Christ.
you should read.
All right, I'm just going to mute you. And you're going to answer my question. Do you have to have faith in Jesus to be saved?
You need faith, yes, you have to
Okay,
accept-
so you just said that my problem is that I have to have faith, but you have to have faith too, right?
That's not a problem, no. Why do you have to make it a problem?
You're the one that made it a problem. You said that
No.
atheism is less likely because it's all full of faith. Those were your words.
It's quasi-religious. I am saying that Christianity has evidence to it. It has
No,
external
atheism is not religious at all. That's just a claim.
Science itself is quasi-religious.
Do you know what a religion is?
Faith-based system.
Christ, you're gonna have to slow down. Do you know what a religion is?
Religion originates from the word religare, which means to bind. It technically.
What
means
is a religion?
to bind.
I'm asking you what religion is. What is the definition of a religion?
A particular system of faith and worship.
Yeah, there's no faith or worship in atheism. It's a lack of faith and
There's
zero worship.
Why? Because
It's
you have
crazy.
faith-
It's crazy
faith in
that what
God.
you just described is the exact opposite of what atheism is.
You worship yourselves in atheism.
No, I don't worship
gosh.
anything.
Your faith. Your faith is
Christ, here we go. I'm going to just tell you the logical fallacy, and you tell me the problem with it, okay? Of your God. All right, you are a Catholic, so you believe in the Trinity.
I need
Do you believe?
to speak
No, no. You said that I
When
you said that I
when you're
didn't have
attacking me that
you
way,
said that I
you're
didn't
not
have
being-
logical proof. So now you're going to listen to my logical proof. You said you're Catholic, so you believe in the Trinity because that is core to Catholicism, correct?
It is.
Okay, so do you believe that Jesus and the Father are identical?
They are not the same. The Father is not the Son.
Yeah. Do you think they're all three equally God?
They are one.
Yep, there
Yeah,
you go. So, exactly, there's your logical fallacy. That is breaking the law of identity. You
That's
cannot
not-
hold
that's
on.
not a law,
Just
it's a fallacy.
just shut up and listen. Just shut up for a minute. You're
Not
gonna have to
letting
chill.
me explain. That's not.
That is a
reasonable
logical foul. That if you unmute one more time, I will just drop you down. Then say what I have to say. Then I'll bring you
You're
back
not
up
being
once I'm done.
logical right now.
Okay,
You're not being
that's
truthful
fine.
Right now. We're not going to have.
Request back up, but I'm going to explain. So, P equals P, always. If P equals Q and P must be identical for it to equal P. Otherwise, it is a contradiction. It's a logical contradiction. It's a fallacy. And what you're explaining is there's three beings that are not identical that equal this one thing, and that just can't be. It's literally against logic.
The Trinity does not say that the Father is the Son, or that the Son is the Holy
Yeah, that's the
Spirit, or
problem.
the Holy Spirit is it's the Father.
That's
not
the
a problem.
problem.
Because when you say that the Father is the Son, or that the Son is the Holy Spirit, or that the Holy Spirit is the Father, then you would assert modalism, which means that God exists in different manifesting modes. Which is
the reason.
illogical.
Do you know? No,
illogical.
that's not illogical. That would make it logic. That would make it more logical because you aren't breaking a law of identity.
Modalism.
You are breaking the law of
Modalism.
identity when you say that three things are not identical, but they are the same thing.
We're not saying that the Father and the Son are identical as in being the same.
I know
Cannot say-
that is the problem.
Then why do you assert that they're not identical?
All right, you can't say they are identical and they're not identical at the same time. Are they all three the same exact God?
All three, they are one God.
Yeah. So
That's the,
is God? Hold on.
Trinity itself.
Is God? Is there just one God?
there is only one God.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. What is a God?
God is the all-powerful being and the unmoved mover.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying that these three different beings is one being. You just said God is one being.
Distinct.
Those were your words.
Distinct.
And then you said there were three different beings that make up one being. That is against the law of identity.
They're not, because we're not saying...
They're just not because you don't want them to be. That's awesome.
It's like,
I like that
one-
argument.
1 plus 2, it's like look, when you're using logic, we're not asserting that they are technically the same. Okay, we are saying that they are three persons and one God. They have come to be so in that way. It's not illogical to say that they are not one.
No,
God,
it is.
because the Trinity itself, the Trinity
Is God one being?
Is the logical explanation.
Is God one being? Is God one being?
God is one being.
All right. Is Jesus a being?
Jesus is a person of the Trinity.
Is Jesus a being? Don't change the words. I'm asking you a yes or no. Is Jesus a being?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Is the Father a being?
The Father is also a being.
Okay. So the Holy Spirit, is that a being?
Yes.
All right. So there's three different beings that are not identical that are one being. It breaks the law of identity. If you can't see that, I'm sorry, but that literally goes against the law of identity.
It doesn't go against the Trinity itself, because the law of identity itself, it explains that the Trinity is what shows that they are one.
Nope. Incorrect. Okay, do you have any other issue? All right, so is your God all-powerful? Well, we'll go to the next thing since you don't have the brain capacity to understand this one. We'll go to the next one.
That's not true. Because I have IQ scores.
Yeah, I know. Your Facebook IQ scores are so high. So, listen, do you believe that your God is all-powerful?
Yes.
Okay, so if your God is all-powerful, he has nothing that hinders his powers.
So do not assert that I'm stupid. I'm saying. He has powers, yes.
Okay, nothing can, or nothing hinders his powers. He can literally do anything.
Yes, he can do anything.
Okay, so he can make a rock too big for him to lift?
He can make something like that, but it doesn't mean that he can't lift it.
Okay, then he's not all-powerful. Either way, in that, when you take away all limitations of God to make him all-powerful, then you come into another contradiction. Because for him to be all-powerful under that definition, he would have to be able to make a rock too big for him to lift, which is a logical contradiction. So there's the second logical contradiction. Do you want another?
That's not exactly a logical contradiction, because Jesus Christ has.
Can he?
If you want me to explain? I can explain. But
can God do anything he wants to do? Can God do anything he wants to do?
Jesus Christ has two natures: human nature and divine nature.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. So we're gonna mute you again because you just cannot handle being quiet for a second.
You're afraid. You do not want to continue. You're trying to be attention seeking.
No, you have gotten wrecked. Is what has happened. You have been wrecked.
Hey, Christ apologetics. I want you to hold your IQ score up. I want to
because
see
Jesus
it.
Christ has human nature, and he also has divine nature. If he has a human nature, he cannot lift a rock that is too much bigger for him. That is true.
Hey, Christ.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
talking.
questioning your IQ score. I just want to see it.
Also, at
Can
the
you
same
hold it up for
time,
me?
lift that rock.
Hey, no, hold on. No, I'm talking about God the Father. Can God the Father make a rock that's too big for him to lift?
No, but if you're talking,
then he's not all powerful.
As in of itself, then that's a
then he can't do something. So your God, there are things your God can't do.
There are paradoxes that you claim. However, that doesn't mean that he cannot do everything.
No, that does. That means he's limited by logical principles.
Can God do evil?
Yes. Yep.
No.
Yeah, he said that he says that liars go to hell because they're evil, and then he sends lying spirits to lie to people. He says do not murder, and then he says to go kill infants. He does all of these things, so he does things that he himself say is evil. Hold on. No, hold on. He even says that it is an abomination to sacrifice children to gods, but then he demands that the Israelites sacrifice children to him. So again and again, your God does do evil things.
Show me that.
Yeah, it's in Ezekiel.
Is it about the case with Moses?
No. You mean with Abraham?
No.
Abraham and Isaac when he's supposed to sacrifice his son?
No.
Is that what you're talking about? Because
the angel came to him, and then he said that you're being tested. It's under a trial. But God himself, Yahweh, he never commanded child sacrifice. And
Yes, he did.
The Amaleks, no, he never did.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he never commanded it in a sense.
No, yes, he did. I'm getting ready to read you the
absolutely
Bible. You've never read it, so we're going to read it to you. Give me 1 second. You just hold your horses. I'm going to read it to you.
Absolutely said it, I promise. I agree with Dr. Doomfist in the chat. Says the God of the Bible is the bad guy of the story. It's hard to argue against that.
Yeah, so Ezekiel 20, 25, and 26 says, "So I gave them other statutes that were not good statutes, and laws through which they would be defiled. And I defiled them through their gifts, making them sacrifice to even their firstborns, that I might fill them with horror, so they would know that I am the Lord." That's Ezekiel 20, 25 through 26. God says he commanded them to sacrifice even their own firstborn so that he would horrify them into serving him.
Okay, so may I speak now?
Yeah, if you're going to address what I just read.
Okay. So God's not endorsing these acts, but he's showing how he allowed their sin to reveal its aura and lead them to repentance.
So we're going to stop you there because you're being dishonest already. He says he commanded them to do this. He commanded this, Christ. You're not going to get to change words. We're going to be honest when we have this discussion. That's what this discussion is about. This says that I defiled them through these gifts. I gave them these statutes and laws that I knew were not good, he says. And then he says, I defiled them through these gifts, making them sacrifice. He made them, through the law, sacrifice their own firstborns to scare them into worshiping him. You can't just change words and then say God was just letting them do it. No, God says he commanded them to do it.
But that specific verse that you gave, God is condemning Israel's idolatry. That's what he's doing. So
Nope.
God detests the
He
practice.
says he gave them the commands, Christ. He says I gave them these commands that were bad.
No, because in Jeremiah chapter 7, verse
Yeah, I
21,
don't care about Jeremiah chapter 7. We're talking about Ezekiel. You got to keep. You're going to keep on track. No, we're going to talk about Ezekiel. So in Ezekiel, it says he commanded them to do these evil things. Was that true or false? Was Ezekiel right or wrong?
He didn't command them. He gave them over.
No, that's not what it says. I'll read it one more time. It says, I gave them statutes and laws that were not
He gave them
good.
Statutes. Yes.
Statutes and laws. Do you know what a statute? Do you know what a statute or a law is?
A statute. What?
A statute and a law. Do you know what those are?
The statutes in the law. Yeah.
Yeah. So he gave them laws to sacrifice their children, and he knew they were bad. He said, "I gave them statutes and laws that were not good." God gave these to the Israelites.
He did not give them corrupt laws or customs. He gave them-
Okay, so you're just gonna lie. Cool.
Words
Then
don't mean
you
much.
were a waste of time because you're literally, I'm reading it to you, and then you're just directly lying. Everybody else hears what I read.
This is why,
it's
Joyful,
crazy.
this can't be the word of God. It can't be the word of God. If you could do Bible night here where you read a book a week or a book a month and verse by verse, and you have 1,000 people in your live listening, you're going to get 1,000 different comments from Christians themselves about what it means, or this is hyperbole, this is exaggeration of this, or this is metaphor, and this is out of context, and this is a different translation, and which version are you reading from? And I mean, this is the most chaotic God. I have a degree in communications, and I'm telling you, this guy would have gotten an F in communications. This God couldn't take 2 tin cans with a string in between them and communicate with somebody.
Funson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, hold on. Radio Spencer, I need you to mute this live. Like, mute your mic for this live, and you're going to be talking through Video Ninja. I think that's where we went wrong. So you're going to have to unmute that, mute everything on this side, and talk through that, and you'll come through my speaker.
Wait, you talking to me?
No, Spencer, the other, my co-host.
Okay, good. Does that mean I'm good?
Hold on. Alright, so Funson, you are 19 and you're a Christian.
Yes.
Alright, what did you have?
Yes.
What did you have to share with us here today?
Okay, this took so long. Finally. First off, I would like to ask if you have a Discord server, if just in case the stream goes down again.
Yeah, we have a Discord. It's Deconstruction Junction.
Okay.
Would
I be able to talk to you in there if the stream goes down again?
You would be able to talk to me through... Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to talk on this live, though. So,
yeah, that's fine. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get to it now. Finally. Took some time. Okay. I'd like to talk about typology.
Spencer, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I'm not able to get my mic through my phone or the computer to work, so this is the only mic I have through my soundboard. So if I have to sit out this call, whatever you want me to do, I don't know. I can't. When I try to switch microphones, it takes off TikTok and it does a weird thing, so I lose you completely.
So,
okay, we'll have to...
Typology or?
Yeah. Just...
Yes?
Yeah, we're gonna do a quick call with you. I guess Spencer's just gonna have to sit out for right now.
You're going to do a call with me. What am I doing?
No. We're talking. I'm just saying that Spencer couldn't join us because we're having technical difficulties. Things that were not foreseen.
So, can I start talking about my stuff?
Yep.
Yay! Okay, finally. Okay, I want to talk about typology, mainly because I keep finding more.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I talked with Joel Reads the Bible, I talked to that guy about typology, and I saw the cogs turning, and then I discovered more typology pretty recently.
Yep.
I think I was on a road trip or something, but anyways, where do I start? I'll start with, since you were talking about Abraham and Isaac, I'll start with that one, to explain why God commanded it. To give an explanation. God did not want Abraham to kill Isaac. God wanted to prefigure Jesus using Abraham and Isaac.
So did he lie? Hold on. Did he lie to Abraham when he told him he wanted him to kill him? Or was he telling the truth?
He commanded him to do it, but I don't think he said he wanted him to do it.
Okay, so what is a sin?
A sin?
Yep.
I could assume anything against God.
Against God's commands. That's what James says. So if God commanded it, that would be him saying, I want you to do this. Otherwise, it would be a sin not to.
Yes, of course, if Abraham refused, would probably be a sin.
Yeah, so God wanted him to, right?
Didn't want him to kill, but did want him to obey, as in go forward, grab Isaac and some wood, and get everything going, and then God stopped him right before it happened.
Okay.
They show a picture of Christ, and it's actually pretty cool. Would you like to hear?
The type and shadow of Christ?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have no interest in that. This isn't a prophecy. Do you have any actual prophecies about Jesus? I mean, I'd be interested in that.
This is something that was built into the Old Testament.
Yeah, this is just...
talk about it?
I mean, we can talk about it, but it doesn't have anything to do with Jesus. It has to do with Abraham and Isaac.
Well, it connects to Jesus. Because...
No, this would be an eisegesis. This would not be an exegesis. That you would not read Genesis 22, just Genesis 22, and come up with Jesus. So this wouldn't be an exegesis.
However, if you read the New Testament, if you read the Bible,
Yeah, so it's
you
eisegesis,
start to
yeah.
see it.
So it's eisegesis, yep. That's you taking other parts of the Bible and making other things make sense with your own
it's
thoughts.
Too obvious, in my opinion, to be just me forcing it together. This is not forcing puzzle pieces together that aren't meant to be together. This is something that you will continue to notice while reading the Bible. I found one of Cain and Abel. I found one of Joseph being a type of Christ. Obviously, Adam and Eve.
Yeah, but that's all you just inserting that. There's nowhere in it that says anything about Christ or a Messiah.
Dude.
No, it is. I was a pastor for 10 years, okay? I know the typography you're talking about. This isn't a prophecy. You're talking about it foreshadowing Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. So foreshadowing is just you asserting the New Testament into the Old Testament. These are old stories that, of course...
That's your opinion.
No, that's just the facts.
That's the fact, because... Why?
Because there's nowhere in the Old Testament that says this is about Jesus. Not a single place.
It's
You are...
too obvious. When you put the New Testament next to the Old Testament, you can see the connections.
No,
There's
this is called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Do you know what that is?
Texas.
Yep, Texas sharpshooter fallacy. It's a real fallacy. It's called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. And what it is you take a gun and you pew into the side of a barn, and then you go to your holes and you draw a target around it after the holes are already there and make it look like you got bullseyes. That's exactly what you're doing.
I did not draw anything.
No, you are.
It was just found. Multiple people are able to find these.
Okay,
These
so hold
things are
on.
very obvious.
Hold on. Was Jesus actually sacrificed?
Sacrifice?
Yep.
Yes.
Alright, so was it foreshadowing God sacrificing his son when Isaac was supposed to be sacrificed?
Well, actually, yes, it was.
Okay, so, was Isaac sacrificed?
Was I sacrificed? No.
No, yeah, because there was a lamb that... Hold on. Something took his place. Did anything take the place of Jesus?
You're not understanding. The thing that took his place was Jesus.
Oh, so... Hold on.
Missing a lamb.
Hold on.
And the lamb was Jesus.
Alright, so who is being sacrificed in this? Am I being sacrificed and Jesus is my scapegoat for me being sacrificed? So God's sacrificing me?
Well, no, Jesus is taking the punishment for your sin.
Yeah, so that has nothing to do with Isaac. Isaac wasn't being punished for anything. He was a sacrifice. He was an unblemished firstborn that was going to be sacrificed. I am not that. So it is not a type and shadow of Jesus in me at all.
It definitely is.
No, I just explained how. How am I an unblemished firstborn? I'm not a firstborn, I can tell you that right now.
What are you asking?
Am I an unblemished firstborn? Am I unblemished?
I feel like you're reading this in a way as to avoid the text.
No, I'm reading it in how it's supposed to be read in Judaism, which is what this is written for. You are putting Jesus into this. That's my whole point. When I read it for what it actually says, he was taking his firstborn to sacrifice him, correct? Was this a punishment to Isaac?
Punishment to Isaac? It doesn't say that. So
Yeah, it absolutely was not. He was being sacrificed. So am I being... Either I'm being sacrificed by God and Jesus is going to take my place for that sacrifice, or Isaac's story and my story have nothing to do with each other, and Jesus is not that ram.
Can you say that again?
Alright.
Jesus obviously isn't the ram. Jesus is the lamb.
Alright.
That's why there was a ram that took his place. And Jesus was the lamb that the Bible...
Alright, so now Jesus was a... So now you're even getting worse, because you're saying, I am not a sacrifice, I'm being punished. Isaac was not being punished, he was a sacrifice. And the thing that took his place was a ram, and Jesus isn't a ram, he's a lamb. So now, you're throwing out, like, most of what you are saying is a foreshadowing of Jesus. This is just absurd.
seeming quite apparent to me that you're just not wanting to open this box.
Okay.
You obviously don't want to hear about any other typology. You didn't want to hear about it in the first place.
No, because it's not prophecy. It's just it is literally a fallacy. It's the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, and that is what you are committing.
It's definitely not fantasy.
Yes, it is. You have something that you want.
And Cain, and the punishment Cain had, look into Joseph and him in prison and how that prefigures the cross. It's too freaking obvious.
No, there's nothing about the cross in the story of Joseph.
Bend it away.
There is no story about a cross in the story of Joseph. And there's nothing about Cain and Abel that's about Jesus either.
It didn't specifically say a cross, but it said they would be hung.
Okay? Do you think...
They would be either hung on a rope or hung on a cross.
Crosses didn't exist then?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does, because it wasn't talking about a fucking cross. So it does not matter. Because what you're saying is it was talking about a cross. Cross didn't even exist, so they were not talking about crosses. They were talking about another type of hanging. Again, you are asserting something. You are asserting something from the future to interpret something from the past. You are just inserting things.
It's pretty obvious, according to the Bible, that God is beyond time.
Yep. Alright. Let's go back over here to TikTok because that was just obnoxious and ignorant. There was no substance to that at all.
Wow.
I couldn't handle that one. That's just... Like, I show him the ways that his foreshadowing don't work, and he's just like, well, that's because Jesus was the lamb. It's even better than a ram. That's why. It's just like, no. It doesn't work.
Well, the judges are in on that last caller. You want to see what they concluded?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yes.
There we go.
That's the vote.
If there are any other takers, you can feel free to come up. If you're going to come up here and try to talk to me about foreshadowing in the Bible, it's not going to work. It's just not. You can show me real prophecy, and we can talk about Jesus and prophecy, but foreshadowing is never a valid argument. It's cool for a Christian.
Terrible at foreshadowing. He was awful at foreshadowing.
No, he was. It doesn't say anything about a cross, but it says something about hanging. Okay, crosses didn't exist when that was written, so it couldn't have been talking about crosses, so it was talking about a different style of hanging. Like, it doesn't take that many brain cells to figure out that you just want it to say those things. Yep, it's a literary device in fiction. Guys, we are an hour and 40 minutes in to our first JA debates with our co-host, Mr. Spencer here, and I'm glad to see y'all. We've hit over 100 one time on my backup, which is a good feat. We've had some good conversations with a few callers. They're not the most intellectually honest so far, but I mean, are they ever? So keep tapping them likes, keep sharing out the live. Let's try to get some more people in there, get some more conversations. We will be doing conversations till 9:30, and then we will be doing Q&A time where you can come up, talk to me and Spencer if you have questions about deconstructing, questions about us personally, anything that you would like to ask. Come up for the last half hour, and we can do a short Q&A.
So close to 50K hearts, guys. We're so close. Keep tapping.
Next week, or Thursday, we have Hammy is the co-host. And then we have Tiny Smaws Monday. Then Lobes the following Thursday. And then the week after that, I will not be here. Benny will be running the live. He will be the main host. And he'll still have the same background and everything. But it will be Benny and Volcy doing that live, hosting together. And then after that, we have Christina Carroll, and then Joel reads Bible, then Justin. So really looking forward to seeing how this month goes. And we will be about midway through the month. I will start making my schedule for next month. And so if you want to jump in and become part of it, let me know. If I don't know you, I'll want to get to know you a little before I just throw you in here. A little bit about you, but I'm sure there will be a place for you if you're in the deconstruction community. At least there may be some exceptions to that. But, and if you, like Spencer wants to come back later, we will be trying to recycle through people and keep everybody that there will be people that will be one-time wonders, I'm sure, but plenty of people that will be recycled back through. So I look forward to all of that. Yeah, Spencer is... I love Spencer.
Thanks a lot.
But we right now have no colors. If you're over on YouTube and you disagree and you have actual arguments, come on up through the tiny URL there at the top of your screen in the comments, and we will be more than happy to talk to you. Yeah, the Shroud of Turin, I scientifically disproves, yes. Scientifically, it says that it is from the medieval period. So yes, right there, it is scientifically disproven to be Jesus' shroud. And I can biblically disprove it too with the Book of John.
The Book of John match the description, right?
Yeah, it doesn't even match the description of the shroud he would be wearing. He would be wearing a shroud around his body, and then a head covering, and then another wrapping around his head. You would never get the full body and face in one, according to the Bible itself. Either that or John was wrong, and then that's heresy. So I suggest not doing that. Nope,
Benny's
not
got a message
1980s. This is as recent as 2015. They have dated it again. So yeah. The only dating that says that it's any older than that is a Christian group that doesn't even cite the way they dated it. And it's been dated by a few different ways. It's been carbon dated, and it's also been dated through looking at the patterns on it and seeing that it was a stitch used in the medieval times, not a stitch used in first century Jerusalem in that region. What's up, Benny?
I just wanted to come up to see if I could maybe get Mr. Jack Reality that's in the Deconstruction chat. They said that they knew that last person who called in and that they're very knowledgeable, which is funny because I don't understand how, like, an homage to the Old Testament from the New Testament, you realize, like, the writers of the New Testament had these stories that they could, like, homage to. It's like when a newer movie does a kind of a nod to an older movie. That's exactly what's going on with these, like, little hints and Easter eggs that you're claiming you're finding that are like secret Jesus.
But one of the bigger problems I find in it is that they never really spell out the gospel story of Jesus. Like, even talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace with the fourth person, that fourth person wasn't burnt up in the fire for them. He just hung out in the fire and none of them got burnt. Daniel in the lion's den, they look down there, they see the angel with him. That's not an homage to Jesus because Jesus wasn't eaten by the lions for Daniel. Like, there's like these big issues with these homages that they don't want to see. They just refuse to see it.
Right. Also, Jack Reality, you can just click that little tiny URL link. It's pinned to the top of the chat. You can get in there. Oh,
right on.
Looks like we got somebody else here. I'm going to drop, guys.
See you, Benny. Love ya.
Thanks, Benny.
His Did you mean to come up? You are teacupped as of right now.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just had a phone call there.
All right,
how's it going?
What's your age, and are you a theist?
Yeah, I'm 27 years old. I've been a Christian now for 4 years. I've been saved.
Right on. What do you got for us?
I joined kind of late. I know you're discussing the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yep.
And the story of Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what did you state before, as far as the was it the fire or the lion's den that you were discussing with Daniel?
I was Daniel in the lion's den. I was discussing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire, and the discussion was because somebody came up trying to state that foreshadowing in the Old Testament of Jesus was credence to it being true. And I was showing that really when you look at the stories, they don't match up with the line of Jesus.
So if you go onto NewTestamentChristians.com, you will see all of the 351 prophecies of Christ fulfilled.
There's
with
0
scripture references.
There's 0.
So if
you gotta stop looking at all these biased websites.
All right,
and
so
Christian
hold on.
That's the main problem you got.
Hold on. I'm going to read you a prophecy that's on that website. I'm going to read you a prophecy, and you're going to tell me if Jesus fulfilled it or not. Okay? And this
Born
is
of a virgin?
Yep, born of a virgin. We're going to talk about it.
So if one came to be true, then all of
them
have
that
to be
did
true
not
after
come
that.
true. That one did not come true, and we're going to read it and show
that, bro.
I'm going to show you. Just shut up and let me read you the Bible. I know you hate the Bible when you actually have to read it.
Now you tell your guests to shut up? That's not very respectful.
Yeah, when you're talking over me when I'm trying to read your book to you, you should be quiet. Okay, so I'm going to read this, and you're going to explain to me how Jesus fulfilled this. This is a prophecy to King Ahaz, who lived 400 years before Jesus. He says, again, the Lord said to Ahaz, saying, ask a sign of the Lord, let it be as deep as Sheol or high as heavens. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, and I will not put the Lord to the test. Then Isaiah said, hear then, O house of David, is it too little for you to weary mortals, that you weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. To King Ahaz. Look.
Where from the website is that scripture?
I'm reading the entirety of the scripture, not just the verse they want you to read. Isaiah 7. You shut up and let me read your book. I know it's hard for you. Just shut up and let me read your book.
It's not hard.
I'm reading the Virgin. I'm reading because you won't shut up. Just shut up,
brother.
Just shut up. Just shut up.
I wasn't.
Just shut up. Just shut up.
You're a grown man.
Just shut up. Okay. Now let's get back to reading your Bible. Okay. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman is with child, and shall bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
God
hold
be
on.
with us.
Yeah, shut up and let me read your Bible. Oh my God, you hate the Bible so much you can't.
He's been a Christian for 4 years.
He can't shut up. He already lost all of his patience. Yeah, Christianity takes all your patience away.
4 years, and he's acting like he's been in the faith for 10,000.
He shall eat curds and honey by the time he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land before you, whose 2 kings you are in dread of, will be deserted. So 400 years before Jesus, King Ahaz is told a child will be born, and before he can eat solid food, the 2 kings that he is in dread of will be destroyed. And that happens. It happens in the Bible 400 years before Jesus. This prophecy is about a child born 400 years before Jesus. Jesus could not have fulfilled this.
Can you reread those few verses about the virgin birth again?
Yeah.
Who's named Emmanuel?
God with us. Actually, in the very next chapter, hold on. In the very next chapter, they literally.
Sir. I held on for you. Now,
All right, so I'm answering your question.
Bro,
You asked me a question. You need to chill, dude. You need to chill.
I can't
All right,
deal with
so
this. Have a
listen.
nice night. It's your own pride.
Okay,
Well, then don't.
that's
You're
fine.
the one who called up, right? We didn't draft you here.
That's
Yeah,
fine. I know
I
it's
didn't
sad.
join to have a
I know, cry and run. That's fine.
Grown men here.
No,
You're double
yes,
my age,
you've
too,
been
which is
talking
sad.
over me the whole time.
Brother, I
you
wasn't
asked me a
talking
question.
over
Hold
you.
on.
I
Hold
came
on.
in here, I
His.
introduced
You
myself,
talked.
you asked me a question,
Look at
now
him.
you're
He
gonna
can't
mute me.
shut up for 5 seconds.
God, just
Listen.
stop.
You
Practice
asked
your
me a
own
question. You asked me a question, and then you got mad because I was answering it. You asked me a question,
I'm not
and then
mad.
you talked over my answer and got mad that I was talking.
Brother, I'm not mad. Can I tell you something?
Okay, let me finish answering your
Bro,
question, then you
I
can
didn't
talk.
ask you a question.
Yes, you did. You said, does a manual mean?
Yeah,
so I am answering.
already answered
I am
that.
answering that question.
Oh my goodness, this is how you talk, bro?
How did you get so radicalized in 4 years?
I'm not.
This
I
is
can
crazy.
Your level of
Now
indoctrination
you guys
is
just
wild.
judge,
This
right?
This
You
dude
guys
is
just want to judge and
crazy.
Wild.
belittle the next Christian that comes on your panel. That is extremely sad, and I will pray.
God,
I
I was
know
a
you
Christian
guys come
for
from deconstructionism. You come from false religion. I already
Well,
spoke with
I
Radio
hope
Spencer
that
once.
I hope that you will actually be
Can we
honest for 2
discuss
seconds.
this conversation without you belittling?
Yes. All right. So Emmanuel is what they call the child born in the very next chapter. Did you know
Really?
that? Yeah.
First
Hezekiah.
off, I would love for you to try to practice as much active listening as you would want me to when you're
Look at this
discussing.
fuck. Are you gonna cry or are you going to have
No,
a
I'm
conversation?
trying to get into my response.
No, you're
without
just
you.
crying. That's all you're doing. Do
So
you want to
you
have a
asked me-
conversation or do you want to cry?
Can I get one word in without you interrupting me?
Are you going to quit crying? If so, then yes.
Why? I'm just going to ignore whatever you're saying right now. When it comes to Emmanuel, right? God with us. What person within the Bible, right? You're saying it's part of the next chapter. When you read Isaiah, hold on, sir, please. You're saying I don't practice patience, but you need to really practice what you.
You said
force
what
others.
part of the Bible is that in?
What's
and I
Isaiah
was going
about?
to answer it. So if you pose a fucking question, I'm going to
If you
answer
curse
it.
one more time, man, I'm gonna. leave.
Fuck.
I'm sorry.
Fuck.
Have a nice night, guys.
Jesus fuck. Fuck
Jesus loves you
Jesus.
despite your sin,
Jesus
bro.
is a fucking cuck.
God.
He loves you despite your sin.
Jesus
bro.
is a
God
cuck.
He
bless
could
you.
tell us himself. We're not in 3rd grade on the playground. He could tell us himself.
His
Doesn't need to pass
his
notes
needs
to
a
you.
nap. He's up past his bedtime. He couldn't handle the big boy conversation. Emmanuel
Wow.
choose cud. Yep, Emmanuel choose cud. Okay, so if you're still in the chat, I would just like to say, so the problem with this is, literally, it says that this was happening during the time of Ahaz. No matter what Emmanuel means, it doesn't matter. If it happened during the day of Ahaz, that was 400 years before your Jesus. He did not fulfill the prophecy. I'm sorry, you can cry, you can throw a fit, you can try to talk about reasons that words mean words, but it does not matter. And Jesus was not named Emmanuel. He said, he shall be named, or him, and shall name him Emmanuel. Jesus was not named Emmanuel. He was named Yeshua, or Jesus, or whatever you want to say. He was not named Emmanuel. So again, this is as poor as the foreshadowing.
I love how Christians make
crazy.
it such a big deal, the Emmanuel thing, and then through the rest of the Bible, like, it never comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What?
It's like your name's Tommy, but the Bible says your name is Joey, but we never call you Joey. We call you Tommy.
That was a
So
400-year
Joey's so important.
prophecy. Yep. Yeah. He was a recent guest. He was here the other night when me and Crystal were doing our farewell to our show. And he was pretty intolerable then too. That's
Hey,
kind
Joel,
of
I got to ask you this because you were a pastor, and I have never been, but in your experience, I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't assume, but I want to get your take on this. That guy said he was a Christian for 4 years. He was saved, or, Doesn't that entail a severe amount of indoctrination when you're that neck deep in the Jesus juice 4 years into it? I mean, that guy sounds like he's he might as well have been radicalized when he was like an infant or something. I mean, what was your experience with that when people were that indoctrinated and that gung-ho about Jesus and everything 4 years into discovering it? What did that tell you? Just like severe indoctrination, or gullibility was high, or what accounts for that? Do you know?
Well, I would say, for one, with how young he is, he probably was in the church and left and then came back, would be my guess. So he's saying he's 4 years saved, but he probably grew up in it, more than likely. But secondly, a lot of times the most gung-ho, ready to fight Christians are the newest believers. It is crazy because you're telling them, you're giving them these crazy outlandish promises they've never had in their whole life. You're offering them peace of mind. You're offering them release from mental illness. You're offering them release in the to come. You're going to strip off this nasty body where you did all this bad shit. Because most of the time when adults come to God, it's going to be people that are down and out. It's going to be people that are looking for hope. And you're offering them this greatest hope ever. So when they join it, they're gung-ho for it. They're like, I've never had this. And then you have people like coming around them in church and like being loving to them. And they're getting this stuff that they don't get elsewhere. So they are like more enthralled than even the indoctrinated people a lot of times when you get adults into the fold. Yeah, fake love. Yep. It's definitely fake love. I thought about putting on my background atheists love better above the Christians. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not yet. Yeah, love bombing them. Exactly. Love bombing them. And then it goes away. Me and my wife, every church we were very active in and we had great relationships with people, we would move on and we would never, unless we reached out, we would never hear from them again. When we left the faith, never heard a peep from a single goddamn person I met in ministry. Not a single peep. Besides my own family, not a goddamn peep. Sexy man, you don't scare me. I mean, is that your phone? I'm actually writing that down. Give me a second, because I'm going to call you later. But I am going to send you an invite now, because I also want to talk to you now. But I will call you later. I'm not scared of calling people. Let me see here. It's funny when they are like, here's my phone number, I ain't scared. Then come up here in front of everybody. Yeah. Come up here in front of everybody. Anonymous, what's your age and are you a Christian?
Hope they dropped off, I think.
Oh. Okay. Someone get joyful. No, I really, I don't mind. One night I left, I quit the live and there was somebody in Video Ninja like an hour and a half later that just joined. And I talked to him for like an hour and a half. Me and some theist. He was a super sweet guy. I wish he would have been on my live because it would have been a great conversation. But we talked for like an hour and a half, just me and him on Video Ninja, because I don't know how he got there or what, but it was a good time. Why are people dropping? Yeah, I don't know. Guys, thanks for all the likes. We're at 57,000 likes. Thank you so much. We have 2 hours left of taking callers. If you disagree on YouTube or on TikTok, please go ahead and join the conversation. Over there on YouTube, all you have to do is go up there to that top pinned comment and you will be able to see... you'll be able to see... Oh, sorry. You'll be able to join the conversation through tinyURL, and we can talk to you over there. For tonight, unfortunately, Spencer cannot. We'll have to figure out the kinks there. I knew that this was going to be a learning curve. No, it's going to be it's a learning curve for me trying to do this new setup. So we're going to learn and get more fluent, have better streams. But I think I am going to stream all of these lives on this account, and I may... I think I'm going to stream off of this account, even though it has less followers, and kind of just rebuild this new brand a little bit as well with this account. So we'll see how that goes. But JCal, thank you so much for the $10 on YouTube. The super chat, it says, "Hey guys, hail Doug." Amen, hail Doug. In my description on YouTube, it says that this live is powered by the Deconstruction Zone and, of course, Doug. That is where we gather our strength and we press forward. I'll have to remove that when Joel is my co-host because he has an adverse reaction to Doug, but he'll be okay. But yeah, I'm having a blast so far. Spencer, what do you think?
Oh yeah, no, I love it. Thank you. I'm having a good time with you.
I think this is a good way of doing it, having the two people and one person talk. I was watching the line and I was just thinking, like, there's not really anything quite like that on TikTok. There's similar, like, just the debates, but having, like, the two people and taking one caller at a time and just kind of... The problem is getting people to talk to that don't drive me nuts, because the last few drove me nuts pretty quick. Do you guys live live in the same time though? No, he lives on the West Coast and I am Central Time, so we are 2 hours different. Oh yeah, I love this format. I love how this is. I do miss my Crystal, but it was time for a change for the both of us, and I think it's going to be good. And Crystal is still, if she comes into the chat, she will wreak havoc, and I give all power still to Crystal. But, yeah. Yeah, I think it's been fun so far. That, and we get to know new creators, too. Like, Lobes isn't very out there yet. We have Hammy, who's in a lot of panels, but he's not really, like... does a lot of his own lives and things. He's going to be on here next. Benny and Volcy being together, I really want to see that. Like, I'll be watching it as much as I can. But, yeah, Hammy is hilarious, too. Yeah. And then, towards the end of the month, we have Christina, Carol, Joel Reads Bible, and Justin back-to-back. And next month, hopefully, I can't promise anything, but hopefully we have Dr. Blitz. He's trying to work it out, and hopefully we have Forrest Valkai, which would be absolutely amazing. My mind would be blown. I couldn't even believe he answered my DM. So, like, I was very starstruck that he even considered being on this live. So,
that's awesome.
I love Forrest Valkai, too. He's, like, I love, yeah, everything about him is just awesome. Yeah, he believes in evolution. I believe in evolution, too. I think anybody with a brain should believe in evolution, because that's how you got your brain. In the current state that it is in. But there's monkeys! Spencer. Why are there still monkeys?
I heard somebody, I don't know where I heard this, but I only heard this in the last year. Somebody joked saying, if Adam came from dust, why is there still dust? And I thought that was brilliant. I don't know who I heard that from, but I thought that's a good one to throw back at Christians. It's like, Adam was made out of clay. How come we still have clay? Desert Mom, I think we're going to save that for later, right, Joyful? She's saying, can Spencer tell us about his journey into deconstruction? But I don't want to take up time doing that now because I think we're going to
Oh, yeah, we will do that during Q&A. Stick around. That will be in 2 hours. We will start our Q&A for me and Spencer. You'll come up and ask us whatever questions you have for us, whether it's just about deconstruction, whether it's about what we believed about Christianity. Excuse me. Anything that you can think of to ask me or Spencer, Now's that last half hour will be the time for it. I do have a strict cutoff time because I want this to be as structured as possible, and I know we're not used to that. Here on my lives, we run all different times, and we'll split off and go do I Am His Pastor, but now we are very stringent. Also, I want to point out on my other channel, on my main account, which I guess I'm going to have 2 main accounts now, because this will be for this. My other account will be doing Pride Night once a month, and it will be the night after Benny and Volcy are live on this. The next night will be Pride Night with me and Crystal J, and we will be hosting Pride Night, and we'll be bringing up guests that are part of the community and guests that are allies, and we are just going to have fun. We're going to talk about people's experience and growing up or coming out or whatever, and kind of just sharing that and let people know they're loved, they're cared for in that community, and hopefully give some people that don't have the knowledge on the topic a little bit of knowledge into the LGBTQ community. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and it will be very educational for people.
Yeah, that's much needed. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, that is one thing I said that I'm definitely going to make the time for. And also, just so you guys know, there will be times where I won't be doing these lives, where I will not be here. Most of the time I will, and it will be me and another co-host. But there will be times where it will be 2 other hosts all together. They will have the same background, same J debates, everything. But I just won't be here because I'm busy. But I want this to be a consistent thing that keeps going. And so I have gathered a group of people that are going to help me make that happen. And I think the Deconstruction Junction YouTube page, we're building that through these lives as well. So if you do not follow the Deconstruction Junction, I don't know what's happening with my camera. It's freaking out. If you don't follow the Deconstruction Junction page, make sure you're following that over on YouTube. That is a great community of people. And, yeah. Mike Oxlong, how did we get here? Come up and we can talk about how we got here. I would be more than willing to have a discussion about origin of life. I actually love that discussion. It's one of my favorite discussions. I do not believe we have all the answers, but I believe that our best evidence points us in a direction that is not
folks,
God.
I think Joyful Apostate's camera's doing that because that man is a demon.
Amen. That has to be what...
My picture isn't flickering like that. I'm not a demon. He's a demon. Oh, now he's pretending. Oh, there he goes. He's a demon.
My phone just goes through these phases. I don't know why. I need to get stream camera is what I need to do, but I just haven't. I'm not that bougie yet. Hopefully we'll get there.
Is that what a lot of people do? Like are they using cameras that aren't their phones?
Yeah.
Like are some of the
Yeah, like Justin doesn't use his phone enough. I'll text him during his lives. We'll be texting. He doesn't use his phone at all. But it takes a lot of time and figuring out to make that happen. And with 4 kids, I just don't have that, Spence. And I think you probably understand that.
Yeah, life gets busy. If I could do this, my goal is to do this almost like a second job eventually. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy it so much that it's kind of an extension of talk radio, really. I mean, this is like the new media, all these apps and everything. I think TikTok's one of the primary ones. YouTube, obviously, also. But
yeah, YouTube. To be honest, and I might start losing numbers saying this, but if the YT would make a good way to get guests, this would be like my secondary. I probably wouldn't even take guests on here. It would just be something I stream to, not my main stream. But as of right now, it's the best way I know to have guests. The video.
I still think he is a demon, folks, now that he's teacupping. Oh, never mind.
Maybe it'll work now. I reset my... Nope. I do not know what is happening. I've changed nothing. And then... I don't know. That's God working.
I had my first guy... I had a guess yesterday, or maybe this morning. I was having one hiccup after another, like my face froze in a weird way, and I had to quit, and then I got flagged for something, and I had to quit. And he comes on, he goes, "That's God's way of warning you." And I'm like, wow. He wouldn't give me a heart attack or a stroke first off, I guess, or burn me in my sleep. So he's gonna take away my TikTok capabilities. So it's
my. You want me to take my shirt off, Benny? Is that what you're saying? I will not do that on this live. Everybody will go blind.
Mike says if it glitches again, God is real.
If only it was that easy to know. Benny, I'm quite comfortable with just my shirt on. So, God is real. Read my username. God is not real, but I will send you a invite so you can prove it other than just your username. I would be more than happy to talk to you. Yeah, I really think if we got a call-in number that everybody uses and just I would have to run it through my computer, the live, to make it work, but that way it would be a lot more fluent, kind of like the line and that everywhere you look at God.
God is real. Please request up.
I sent him an invite, but I'm wondering if it isn't a troll, and Mike is a troll because he just asked, what about the trees, though? So I don't think Mike's being serious. I would hope. That's more of a joke than anything. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. We have 66,000 likes. We may get to 100,000, guys. If we get to 100,000 likes on the first episode of this live, that would be amazing. Over there on YouTube, we are not doing the greatest, but we have took some time off, and we've had a lot of issues. So, I get it. Our numbers will come over there. Let's see here.
God is real says, if you believe in cause and effect, you believe in God. He is the cause. Well, if you say so, I guess. Just
the universe is the cause. What now? You think God is the cause, I think the universe is the cause. What now? What do we do? This just shows the foolishness of that argument. We've had this argument already tonight. That you guys don't even know the nuance of that argument to actually have the argument. You just hear it, think it sounds good, and you regurgitate it. The creation as a creator has a creator, not the other way around. There is no creation. Nothing was created. Everything was always in a different form than it is right now, and now it's just in a different form. Life does come from non-life. We actually can show that. They create replicating molecules in labs just by taking amino acids and adding what do they add to it? Another natural agent. I can't remember what it is, but they shake it up and make it into a frenzy, and they make self-replicating molecules that literally mutate. As they self-replicate, they mutate and become more and more advanced. So yeah, life does come from non-life, or either that or self-replicating molecules aren't living, which is kind of a weird statement in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who shook that up? A living No, didn't take a living person. It just took the atmosphere that is thought to have existed back when life originated and recreated it. And that's what we came up with. It's crazy how that works. Dr. Blitz is brilliant, and he's fun to watch. I recommend everybody follow Dr. Blitz. He is a very brilliant man, and hopefully we'll have him here on JA Debates before too long. Bang. What caused that? What caused what? The Big Bang? Everything was so dense that the energy was too much for how tight it was. The dark energy got to a point to where it had to start expanding, and that's why it's expanding, and we're running out of dark energy, and that's why the expansion is actually slowing, and eventually, more than likely, gravity is going to pull it all back to a very condensed state, and then it's going to build a bunch of dark energy again, and then it will do the same thing all over again. Just dark energy. It doesn't take a god.
You can always guest up and we can go into more detail.
What's crazy to me
very
is
strong tonight. It's not very
like
inspiring people tonight.
I would, like, when I was a Christian, I would have these arguments with little to no knowledge of science. But it is, like, now, like, get educated. Like, why don't you just get a little bit of education into science and things like that and not just regurgitate the things you hear? We got Donnie 12 Toes. Donnie, what is your age and are you a theist?
I'm 30 years old. I'm an agnostic Christian.
An agnostic Christian. Right on. So what do you got for us?
I actually joined up to talk about the Big Bang thing there because I've been hearing about quantum foam as being a resolution to what's gonna happen for the crunch side of things.
Yep.
So I don't really understand that. Could you expand on that for me? Because I'm definitely all about expanding and learning like you're talking about there.
Okay, so I know the theory, and I know, I've read some studies about it. I don't know a whole lot, going into depth about it. It's just, so dark energy, basically the idea is, as things become more compressed, energy is more compressed and creates more heat and more tension, and eventually things have to erupt. And when it erupts, all of that energy is going to have to come to a point where it is neutralized before it can stop expanding. It has to expend all of its energy to start retracting back in, and then gravity itself is what's going to retract it back in. But as things get more dense, energy builds again. So the idea is, as things get dense and hot, the energy starts going crazy, expands out, and it's going to keep expanding until all that energy is neutralized and gravity overpowers it. And then it will start to come back, until it gets back into the most condensed form it possibly can, which will again build the energy. So the energy is just recycling over and over again, recycling the same exact energy and matter.
Well, that feels counterintuitive to the laws of entropy, doesn't it? So how
No.
do we resolve that?
The laws of entropy are just showing that there's deterioration in the way things are.
It's the total loss of energy in the system.
Yep.
So for that energy. So
No, you don't lose the energy. It gets
we're losing the energy.
We are not losing the energy. What we're doing is we're redistributing energy.
Okay, so you're saying that it redistributes instead as a
energy
reappointment
can't be
force into
destroyed,
crunch.
can it?
No,
Yes.
not to my knowledge.
Yeah, it's going to be expended. All of the energy is going to be expended to the point where gravity takes hold, and gravity pulls us all back together until the energy becomes to a point where it must expand again, and then it will start to expand again.
Yeah, but entropy addresses the loss of energy in a system, not necessarily the loss of energy in existence.
No, yeah, exactly. So the loss of energy is happening with the expansion. The more outspread we get, the less the condensation of energy. So each part of the universe is getting less and less energy in it, which gives you the entropy. But then when it comes back together, all of that energy comes back into a confined space. So then all of the energy is back, and it is getting hot and more dense, and then it will have to expand again. So it's all the same energy. It's just dispersing and becoming less and less because of the wide expanse. It's kind of like water. If I dump out a gallon of water into a little bucket, it's going to overflow that bucket. But if I dump it out into my tub, there's just going to be a little fine line. The more space something takes up, the less of that thing there's going to be.
Okay, so where I'm, I guess, lost then is, does that energy leave the system of expansion and move into the system of gravity and increase? Is that what you're saying then?
No, gravity overtakes the power of the dark energy that is causing the expansion.
Okay, so if we can't lose energy as like a whole, it can't be destroyed, what system is it transferring into then?
It's not. It's spreading. Space is expanding. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the wider something gets, the less of something, the more something gets stretched out, the less of material it has. I don't know how else to express this.
Well,
if
I think what I'm driving at is I don't agree with the theory of Big Crunch. I accept Big Bang. I don't agree with Big Crunch because that energy has to go somewhere on the expansion that you're talking about. There is energy causing expansion.
Yep.
It stops. Gravity is a constant. It doesn't change.
Yep. I agree.
And so how does the crunch start?
The crunch starts because there's too much space that the energy is pushing. All right, because the energy is what is causing the expansion. The universe right now is still expanding. The more it expands, the more energy it expends. Okay? Do you understand that so far?
Yep, I'm following.
All right, so if it's being expended to cause the expansion, that means you are stretching out the energy and making it less, I don't want to say powerful, but less active. You make the energy less potent. Therefore, you're getting less energy potency. So eventually, gravity will be more powerful than the energy itself because it will be too widespread. No, you would no.
Yeah, well, gravity would have to increase. The energy would have to go into gravity for a retraction to stop.
No, it would have to get too big for the energy to keep up with the gravity. Because gravity is working against the gravity. Hold on. Gravity is working against the expansion, correct?
Yes, and so they will eventually be equal forces.
Yes, but the problem is that it's going to try to keep going until it cannot go any further, right? So what you're saying is it's eventually going to reach it's going to eventually reach an end, and then it will just stay there. Is what you're saying?
There will be a homeostasis that the two forces will be equal.
That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. That is interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I can track, like, if there was an introduction of force into the gravity system, that if gravity was going to change from the constant state that it is, that eventually it would result in a crunch. But if we're being mathematical and scientific about it, that eventually these two opposite forces would be equal and homeostasis would be reached. That's why crunch is like a theorem and not a theory.
Give me 1 second. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess I don't really have a contention to that. I don't know why that would be an issue anyway, for an eternal universe.
I don't think it's an issue for me in an eternal universe. I think the issue is in how we respect time. That in Big Bang, Big Crunch, we're looking at B theory of time. That it's a cycle of things. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with B theory of time. I think A theory of time is true.
Okay, why do you think A theory of time is true?
Well, because there are special moments. My perceptions have changed over time. Consciousness projects itself into the universe and creates change. It's intercession.
Well, yeah, B theory of time doesn't say that there isn't.
B theory of time indicates that there's a cycle of things occurring in this Big Bang and Big Crunch.
Yep.
B theory says that there is a static effect. It removes free will from the course of things.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah, so I don't...
What's the problem with removing free will?
Well, that we have free will. You and I can...
We don't have free
with
will.
The system. I disagree with
that. What's your definition of free will?
You and I take actions. We have minds that are subjective and do things.
Okay. Do you think that we do that outside of any kind of outward influence?
No, I think it's all influenced in and among of itself.
I would be...
Well, so can I give you...
So are you a determinist, or do you believe in free will or determinism?
I believe in free will. There's no determinism. I'm A theory.
Yeah, I know, but the problem with that is you just said that there's outside influences that are dictating your choices.
No, there are outside influences that play into choices that I make. They don't dictate them. I make those in and of my own volition.
So, hold on. Are all of your actions done independent of external forces?
No, I'm made up of physical forces, so no.
Yeah, so it's not free will. Free will would be you are able to do any...
forces don't determine my conscience. I work within the framework of those physical forces.
Within the physical forces. Yeah, you work within those, but free will would say that you don't have anything determining the choices you will make. You don't believe that...
I guess we're having a disagreement on what free will is still, then. Could we go back to defining that?
Yeah, I'm just going with a core definition. What is your definition?
Well, to me, free will just means that you and I, the individuals, so like me, Donnie, you, Joyful, have the option to decide things for ourselves.
Okay.
Right? Like,
so yeah, that would be free choice.
Hold on real quick. Yeah, you came to the logical conclusion from your perspective that God does not exist.
Yep.
Just like I came to the logical conclusion of my own volition that God does exist.
Yeah, but the problem is, Donnie, is if we can just take words and make it whatever we want it to be, I could say free will means there's unicorns that shit in my attic. And then we're talking about two totally different things that have nothing to do with each other just because I decided I like a definition of a word. So if we're actually we got to work within the realms of some sort of definition that can either be...
I was trying to define it.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, can you show me any, like, where that it is defined in that manner? Like...
Well, I don't know why...
Other than you just liking...
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
Other than you liking that definition, can you show me, like, why I should be okay with that definition?
Okay, so should I try to look it up in, like, the Oxford for you, and we'll run with that definition of it? We'll see if we agree or disagree.
Oh, yeah, because it will say what I said.
No,
that's absolutely fine with me.
I want us to agree on what we're talking about. I don't really care what the language that we use around it. That's pedantic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Concepts.
You talking about something because you made up a definition for something.
Well, you made up a definition for like what the entropy of law is. So I tried.
No, I didn't. That is literally the entropy. Entropy just means that in the state that it is in, that it is devolving. It's
the total loss of energy in a system. Yes.
Yeah, in the system,
Right, and you
but
tried to redefine it and say the energy increased or did something else. So
I did not say that.
right?
You're lying about what I said now, Donnie. That's not what I said.
Okay, we'll move on. We've kind of agreed that one's still up in the air a little bit. So
yeah, yep. And I didn't lie about what you said. So
Benny's
There's
going
that.
to come up with it.
also, I'm just trying to make conversation while I look up free will in the Oxford for you.
Mhm.
Donnie, do you believe
Controlled by
that
fate or
God? Donnie, do you believe that God's will always wins out? Like if he has a determination, like if he does God always get his way? In other words,
I don't think God operates as a being as such.
okay. I like your thoughts. You're interesting to me. And when you said agnostic Christian, I'd never really heard that term before. But I'm assuming that means you're a Christian, but you still question Christianity, which is very healthy, I think. So you're a Christian, but you don't necessarily believe all the ins and outs of it. Is that what an agnostic Christian is?
So it just means that I can't prove the existence of God, and so because I know that I can't prove the existence of God, it's fruitless to have that conversation generally.
But no Christian can. So that means you're like above and beyond honest, in my opinion. That gets you a gold star in my book, because that means by definition all Christians ought to say I'm an agnostic Christian, because Christians think they have the answers to the universe, but they don't. They don't, obviously.
Yeah, well, I think that the general logical position for both atheists and for Christians should be agnosticism. We don't know. But I managed to get the dictionary definition before you pulled up here, and it says independent of God's will or influence.
No, that's not what it says. I'm looking at the Oxford Dictionary right now. It says the power to make your own decision about what to do without being controlled by God, fate, or circumstances.
Well, I'm looking at the Oxford Dictionary website, and it says the power to make your own decisions without being controlled by God or fate.
All right, so my
Similar
Oxford.
enough.
Okay, yeah. So do you think circumstances dictate how people make their decisions?
I would say yes. I think that existence is kind
Yeah,
of
then it's not free will.
Yeah, well, existence is subjective.
Yeah, so it's not free will.
How is that not free will?
Because it says
It's not mine.
not dictated by circumstances, and you just agreed that circumstances do dictate the way we make choices.
Well, okay, I guess we don't have the same definition then, because again, mine says the power to make your own decisions without being controlled by God or fate.
That's weird that mine adds circumstances, but yours don't in the same dictionary. That's odd, Donnie.
I just pulled it up in Google. Let me actually open the website.
I
And then
just looked on Oxford English, and you have to subscribe, I guess, or it's a paywall or something. I
Yeah,
couldn't even look it up.
that's why I don't have the actual website pulled up. So I'm sorry, we have different definitions being pulled up here. Words do have different definitions. Is there a second and third that we could maybe look at and agree?
Give me 1 second.
Because honestly, I'd like to come out of this like agreeing with you on some things.
Let me see here. It only gives me the one, but I'm sure I can find... I don't know how to navigate this so well.
I mean, in the context of religion, would we agree that in a Christian sense, it means independent of God's influence?
Oh yeah, from a Christian stance, I think that would be fair. But
Okay,
but that's
can I
not true
address it from
either.
that stance.
Oh yeah, the Bible says that God does dictate the way people do things.
Yeah, the Bible says that.
Okay, so do you believe that the Bible is true?
I believe that there are pieces of truth within the Bible, but it is full of hyperbole, falsehoods, contradictions.
Oh, so you want
to
to dictate it from your version of Christianity. You don't want to dictate it from actual Christianity or the Bible, the book.
Christianity is a diaspora.
Yeah, so you just make it up as you go. Okay. Well, Donnie, you can go make it up as you go, but there's no point in having a conversation about that. Okay. We're back.
Oh my
What's
goodness. I was trying to get you guys on the same page. So,
What?
if Donnie believes in a theory of time, and the Bible is what he's going off of, I don't understand. Like a theory of time and prophecies don't mix together. So Donnie, you would need B theory of time for prophecies to exist.
Well, prophecies are
if B theory exists, then free will does not exist. The only way that free will exists is if God is not able to see the future, and that is not the classical like theism like doctrine or Christian doctrine. So I don't know how you would square away prophecy.
Well, here's what I know, Donnie, why Donnie was being dishonest with the definition, because when you do Google it, it has 3 things that come up without the AI.
Here we go.
3 things.
Hold on. I'm letting them up.
3 things that happen is there's one that says what Donnie says it says, because it's a shortened version. If you just look down at the next one, it adds the circumstance.
Hey, so we can talk about that if you want, because I think that there's different algorithms in our system right now that I'm reading it word for word, man. I'm not being intellectually dishonest with you. I'm looking at what it says. It says Oxford Learner's Dictionary, noun, uncountable, the power to make your own decisions without being controlled by fate or by God or fate. And then I look right underneath that. It says Oxford English Dictionary, free will, nouns, meanings, and I have to click on it to look any further.
Okay.
Yeah, so free will just means that you're able to act without any kind of outside like influence, right? Like the outside influences are not the things that are actually determined.
Prophecy for you real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, so in A theory of time, as far as like God's all-knowingness and being omnipresent, it works in A theory because there is no future. The future doesn't exist in any capacity. So God being all-knowing means he knows all things right here and now. Now has the spotlight.
Right, but in very many parts of the Bible, there are prophets that are saying what will happen in the future. And for that to happen, God would need to know the future. Correct?
Okay, so I think
either God is making the future happen then, or he's going in and enforcing these events to happen in a certain way. So he kind of gives you an illusion.
I think I have a non-traditional definition of what Christian means as well. That I don't think that the Trinity is true. I think the God of the Old Testament is a different God than Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, I get it. You're saying that the God of the Old Testament is a different God from Jesus Christ, even though Jesus is established on the prophecies of the Old Testament?
No, I'm saying that those prophecies are irrelevant. They're not really prophecies.
So if Jesus didn't fulfill any of the prophecies, how did he become a Messiah?
I'm not saying that Jesus was a Messiah either, really, I suppose.
So Jesus was just like is he Abrahamic?
Jesus was a human being who walked the earth and talked about loving each other. That's all I can prove.
Okay. So the divinity of Jesus, though, how do we get to that point?
That I believe all humans are divine.
Okay.
We are all made of the physical things that Jesus was made of.
Okay, so like a universalist kind of understanding or like panpsychist or something like that.
Well, so as far as like the salvation side of things, that I would absolutely hold towards a universalist standpoint.
Or
that, salvation on earth isn't really achievable because we don't know. We have no way of knowing what about all the people, the whole argument for invincible ignorance, that like if you're incapable of knowing a thing, then it's not fair to hold that against you until the afterlife where you can know.
Are you more of like what they would like refer to as like a Gnostic, like the Sethians or Valentinians or the Marcionites, like those kind of sects where they don't believe in salvation, they believe more in like wisdom and knowledge as the way to be divine?
Yeah, I think that probably you would put me more in the camp of like a universalist as far as like God isn't an entity or being that walks the earth that is the Spinoza's God, if you would. Like, I think that I'm probably closer to that than a traditional Christian version of God.
Gotcha. Okay. I see what you're saying now. So, yeah, I would say that, yeah, you're not even a Christian really in the sense, because to me, a Christian has to believe that Jesus is like divine or like eternal in this like special way, that he is, you know, chosen.
Yeah, but he is because we all are.
At this point, you're just like making a new religion. So I guess
that's exactly why I dropped him the first time.
One other thing, though, before he leaves, I just wanted to say that we don't know if the universe is a closed system. So the law of entropy, which is a Newtonian law, does fall apart a little bit, especially even when you're considering quantum mechanics. Newtonian physics do not work like at the quantum level. That's why we have things like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which explains also what your question was about quantum foam. The uncertainty principle means that, like, you know, you can't really locate any single location of an atom. So since it's uncertain, it's kind of like this, I don't know.
Right now.
Yeah,
Love you, Benny.
Going on. All right, bye.
Bye. Benny, I'm not supposed to bring up friendlies. It's new format, Benny. If this is Donnie again, I'm just going to... That's why I dropped him the first time. He was just making everything up as he went along. There's no way to argue that.
Oh, no.
Nice.
What?
Get it?
While he's doing
Get
that, I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Get
real quick.
it?
I'm an old man. I'll be right back.
Crystal got rid of him. I thought somebody would eventually get rid of him.
I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm an old man. I got an old bladder, so.
You're fine. Right. That's where I just went to. So.
I'll be back.
I was down with Mufasa, but somebody brought him up. Who brought Mufasa up?
Brother, dancing. Brother, music play, dancing. Please, please, brother.
Well, this is our commercial break, guys. I don't know who brought him back up to dance, but there he was, guys. If you guys like more content like that, let me know, and we can see if Mufasa can be a regular. I'm just kidding. I hate on this channel. Only hate on this. Donnie, there's not only hate on this channel. It's that you're just making things up. There's no way to have a conversation with somebody that literally is just making things up as they go to fit their every whim. That's nonsense. It's like I was trying to say when I kicked you the first time. If I could say that words mean all sorts of crazy shit, and you wouldn't be able to argue against me. If you are over on YouTube and you disagree, go ahead and come on up and we can have a conversation. If you're on TikTok, you know where it is. Donnie, if you request one more time, I'm just going to block you because I don't want to sit here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. We're at 82,000 likes. If we could hit 100,000, that would be amazing for our first show here on JA Debates. We're going to be bringing you some great guests. We've got Hammy coming up next, which isn't like a super big creator, but Hammy's hilarious and he has good points. We have, who do we have after that? We have Tiny Smaws, who is very good at the last conversation we were having about quantum foam and stuff. He would be able to answer all of those questions with where I am more generally speaking understanding it. I am not that in depth, Tiny Smaws is going to bring us great science, and we're going to have some good conversation with Tiny. And then we have Lobes. Lobes is more new on the debate scene, and I'm really looking forward to have Lobes with me because I think he's a great dude, and he has Donnie, you can come back when Tiny is. He will be live with me on the 11th. So you can come back then, and you and him can talk about quantum foam. Lobes is going to be here. Just so many great people lined up. And then we have Benny, who is just up here, going to be hosting alongside Volcy. Which is going to be a great live as well. They will be casting on my channels, and they will be also casting on Deconstruction Junction, just like we are right now. So stay tuned on our channel. This is going to be awesome. Christ Before Jesus never gets with me about setting up a date, but that's fine. Maybe in September.
He's one of my favorites too.
Oh, I love listening to him while I don't get to interact with his live a lot because it's usually while I'm working, but I listen and it is amazing. One of my faves for sure. But we will have to get him on here as a co-host at some point.
Absolutely. We're so close to 85K hearts, guys. Keep tapping that screen.
Yeah, keep tapping that screen. Keep sharing out the live, guys. Share it. Do all them good things. If you haven't sent me a heart me, it's just one coin. Send that heart me. That helps push us into the algorithm or the populars. All them one coin team member things. Those help so much. We got to 72 team members tonight with the heart me's, which thank you here on my backup. That is amazing. Which, again, I'm not sure. I may just keep this as my main account for this for these lives. I haven't quite decided yet how we're going to proceed.
I hope it's not cheating, Joyful, but I didn't realize I could tap the screen, so I'm tapping too.
I don't know.
Push us into the algorithm.
Yeah, some people have said that being on the panel it doesn't help, but I don't think anybody really knows what actually does it. I think TikTok just
seems to be registering. Yeah,
Jaren is goated. Jaren is awesome. It helps, Farrah says. So, right on. If you disagree and you're on YouTube, jump in. There is a link at the top of the chat box that is pinned. You can join me over there. Or if you have a TikTok, come over to TikTok, guest up, and you can be the next person to talk to me and Radio Spencer. We have an hour left in taking calls, and then we're going to go to Q&A for me and Spencer. Any questions our atheist friends have, or any questions that Christians have that are not like debate worthy but just curious, you will be more than welcome to come up, ask your questions, and we will have a good time answering those. The live will end promptly at 10 p.m. So if you want to get in on the Q&A, as soon as it hits 9:30, get in that request box. Oh,
yeah. The Holy Spirit's weak tonight because I'm not. My blood pressure stayed normal here at Joyful. Usually, people escalate it pretty high. It's too chill. Come on, guys. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we gotta get mean. Anyway, Rimbles, thank you for hanging out over there on YouTube modding. You've been in there all night. I've seen you there, and I appreciate it. We've got Skeptically Pissed was in here. Thank you. So many good mods over there on the YouTube. Love y'all, and thank you for doing this. I can't take care of all of it myself, so it is very much appreciated. may summon Darth Dawkins. I mean, if anybody is friends with, I do not have I am part of the Decon. I have not. I think I am going to make a JA debates Discord for during these lives, kind of like BBD has. But I'm not sure yet. We're going to see how things go. How much. We'll just have to see how things go, because this is a lot, just making sure that all of these schedules are being kept and everything like that. So, with my family and everything, it's just hard to manage everything. Can atheists volunteer to help with the rapture? I mean, if I could volunteer to help with the rapture, we'd start it tonight. Like, I would gladly... I would miss some people, but not as much as I would be relieved that they weren't here anymore, if that makes sense.
One thing I've never understood, Joyful, about the rapture is Christians don't like this question. I always ask it of different scenarios. How does that play out? How does that look? They don't really have an answer. They kind of have an idea, even though the rapture is pretty much an 1830s invention, but they think they have it nailed down pretty well, that Jesus is going to come out of a cloud on a white horse, and the tribulation is going to start. He's going to take the good people off with him. And I'm wondering, how many people is that horse going to fit? I mean, is there going to be like multiple? It might have to be like the mall Santa Clauses, where they're all going to have to team up. Like, there'll be different Jesuses, like in different parts of the world, rapturing people. Like, how long is that going to take? And you know what I mean? Like, where's he going to start? Kind of like Santa Claus when they do the NORAD thing where they track Santa every year. They go, he's starting here, he's in the North Pole, now he's going over here, now he's in the Eastern Seaboard, now he's down in Venezuela, now he's over. Like, how are we going to track Jesus, and who's going to get raptured first? Is it going to be simultaneous, everybody at once? Christians never have an answer for that. They don't really have answers for most things.
Yeah. Beth Ray, are you talking about like Left Behind, or what is that called? Left Behind, or not Left Behind, but
oh yeah, the Left Behind books, movies.
Yeah, the Left Behind, and then there was A Thief in the Night. A Thief in the Night was an older movie, like from the 80s, early 90s. That was a good one. We actually watched, I do believe we watched that on somebody's live. A Thief in the Night, yep.
I haven't seen that one.
Good movies. Rapture Logistics Department. There's gotta be a... Yeah. I'm looking for votes. Vote me in to being in charge of the rapture. Did you know Kirk Cameron doesn't believe in the form of the rapture anymore? In the rapture. Yeah, I've heard that. Who is going to send Darth Dawkins? No. Yeah, I have heard that. I mean, there is a lot of good... I believed in the rapture when I was a Christian, but there's a lot of good evidence that that's not even in the Bible. I think that the most intellectually honest thing you can do with the Bible to make it make sense is to be a preterist and not believe that there's any end coming.
Yeah, it just seems like it'll be a logistical nightmare, especially if Jesus, if he picks rush hour, no thanks.
Yeah, when I was a Christian, I always wondered, what if, I'm in the middle of driving, what will happen to the other people? I had all these weird thoughts because I have very intrusive thoughts. But these are things that I would fixate on. And
oh yeah, and the Left Behind books, airplanes were falling out of the sky because the pilots would disappear and nobody was flying the plane, and cars would just start going off cliffs and everything.
The funny thing is, guys, is this whole idea of Jesus explaining these people walking up the hill and one disappearing. He's saying the days of Noah. He says in the days of Noah it will come like a thief in the night. So the people that are disappearing aren't going to heaven. That's not what's happening when Jesus is talking. He's talking about people being swept away, being unalived. It's very interesting when you look at it and really read what he's saying there, because he's talking about people that were killed in the flood and saying that there will be people walking up a hill and one will be swept away, like in that day. It's very intriguing when you look at it from without the dogmatic lens. It is very interesting to read the Bible from that perspective after 10 years of studying it and preaching it from a very dogmatic point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately prayed for you both tonight. Oh, Chip, you're a sweetheart. You prayed for me? That's nice. I love people doing things without my consent. I love it.
I always wonder when God gets those prayers about TikTokers, what he thinks. Like, oh, I'll get right on it.
I'm not gonna save that kid dying right now, but I'm definitely gonna shut this live down.
Oh boy, yeah. Little Betsy was going in for surgery to get that brain tumor removed, but the joyful Apostate and Spencer are teaming up on TikTok. Not on my watch.
Bigger fish to fry.
How are we doing?
Bible. What is? Which God do you believe in?
I believe in God the Absolute. I don't believe he has a name. He's only revealed his nature, not his name.
So you don't believe in the Bible?
Correct.
Then why is your name?
I go by the Urantia book. That would be my favorite book, But there's more to me than the fact that I read a book 4 times, cover to cover. There's a little more to me than that, It's just that's my favorite book. If you
what's your proof that God exists?
I would say it would be my personal experience. Like me and my 2 buddies were sitting around, talking about Jesus, and an orb appeared in front of all of us, flashing orbs. That would be number 1. I mean, I would say, and you could say, well, that's not evidence, but eyewitness testimony is evidence. Powerful dreams, visions.
Can I tell you one of my experiences that told me Jesus isn't God?
Yeah, well, I did.
I was sitting with some. That's fine. I was sitting talking with some friends about how Jesus never even really existed, and an orb came down and nodded at me and then took off.
So why don't you believe in the supernatural?
Did I ever say I don't believe in supernatural?
Oh, so okay. Well, all I can do is get you to that baseline of their supernatural exists. And I think it's, as far as like philosophy goes.
Do you know what a hallucination is?
You're like Shark. He's a religious genius, frankly.
Shark is an idiot.
Well, the point is you can arrive at God through a philosophical, but
Shark has never arrived at God through anything.
I'm not the guy. I'm the guy that'll tell you that it's all a ghost or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's also called a hallucination. Do you know what a hallucination is?
But that's just a joke. I'm actually I'm being serious about it.
You're a troll. He's trolling.
Hello.
VC.
Yeah.
What is your age, and are you a Christian?
I am.
Sorry about the dogs.
I'm not a Christian. My age is 19.
Are you a theist?
So I don't really label myself as something, but I want to talk about like argument. Can you prove that God does not exist? Is my question. Because I don't think we can disprove or prove a God in a sense. Right?
I think that if you believe that logical things that go against logic cannot be within our reality, then I would say I could disprove any idea of God that somebody could present me with, unless it is so obscure that it's just the universe with the name of God.
So do you have any like comprehensive evidence that proves there is not a God or a higher being that exists? Is there any evidence?
I just told you I could prove through logical deduction that a God does not exist, depending on the definition of God, because God is so obscure.
Well, I guess I could word it as, so can I ask what is your like viewpoint? Like, what do you like follow yourself under?
What do I what?
What do you like follow yourself under? Like, what do you categorize yourself like on your belief? Like, do you have?
I'm an agnostic atheist.
Okay. So do you have so do you have a definition of what a God is to you?
Yeah, a God to me would be an all-powerful being that is infinite.
Okay, that's a good argument. But I've just always like wondered. I'm not really all educated on like this kind of topic. I just want to come on to just ask some questions and like get some like answers from people who seem like they know like what they're talking about, right?
Yeah. So if a God is all-powerful or infinite, we know that, one, we have no evidence that any being would be infinite. But that's besides the point. The all-powerful nature of God is illogical. Yeah.
Do you think asserting like a non-existence requires you to rule out every single possibility in existence? Like, would you consider that? Like, so
every possibility of a God in existence?
Yeah, so like, would you agree that you'd have to, rule out every single possibility in existence to disprove a God exists or does not exist on both sides?
So like I told the last guest, if I say that God means farting unicorn in my attic, well, if I just can make up whatever I want a God to be, no, nobody could ever disprove it because I could ever change what the meaning of God is. So that's why I have to determine with each person a definition of God, and then I can dismantle it from there.
Okay, that's a good point, like about like the definitions. I do agree with that. So my next question would be: so then, regarding like evidence, you think there not being any evidence should be taken as the absence of evidence? Should that like be able to help prove your point?
Well, yeah, I think that I have grounds to say there is no God just based on the lack of evidence of God, the same way that you have the right to say there's no Santa Claus, the way that you can say there's no leprechauns, you can say there's no Sasquatch, you can say all these things because there's a lack of evidence for it, because what we know is not always based, or is not primarily based on possibility, but on probability. So when I look at the world around me and there's not a whole lot of evidence, or there's no evidence that I feel that points to a God and there's no other explanation, then there's a possibility there is a God, but there's not really the probability there of there being a God. So I can dismiss it just because it doesn't make sense to hold a belief that is not probable.
Well, what I have to say about that is like, so when we didn't know things like dark matter existed or like exoplanets, did that mean they did not exist, or we just did not discover them? So
at the time, it was a justified belief at the time to not believe those things existed. Now that we have the evidence to show that it does, but here's the problem. People like, so if evidence comes forward that the tooth fairy really does exist, will you acknowledge that the tooth fairy exists?
I mean, yeah, it's like, it's discovered to exist, yeah.
Yeah, so it's under the same category. So the tooth fairy in your worldview might exist.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair claim. I would say like obviously if a God was proven to exist, people would know it exists, right? And then I just think this is like a gray area question where I don't think either side can actually be proven or disproved.
Right. Well,
and
VC Folden, this is. Let me interrupt you real quick. Let me interrupt you real quick. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but the older I get, the more simple I want my life to be. And I sometimes think it's kind of the Occam's razor where, the easiest explanation is usually the correct explanation. I think it makes more sense to go through this life as we're experiencing it in a non-God model. I'm a former Christian, by the way, of 40 years. I believe for 40 years in the God of the Bible, accepted Jesus, went to church, not because I'm in my Christian life. So I believed at one point, but I'm thinking that if we don't have the evidence to prove it or disprove it, your life is a lot simpler just not engaging in it, not believing in something. It's kind of like you don't have evidence that Bigfoot exists or doesn't exist, so it makes more sense to default to it doesn't exist. And then one day when we have the evidence that it does, then I'll change my mind and say, okay, it exists. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense. It overly complicates the storyline of your life to say, I can't prove God, but I'm going to believe it anyway, because then you have to open up all these different questions. Once you check on it's like taking a test and it says, if you answer A with this, go to question 7, right? So you say, yes, I believe in God. Which God? Is it Zeus? Is it Odin? Is it Poseidon? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the Greek gods, the Roman gods? I mean, your God was not the only God. And certainly humans were worshiping gods long before Yahweh came about, long before Christianity was even an afterthought in anybody's head. People were already worshiping other deities. And basically, Christianity came along and said, those don't count because we're going to start from this point. At this point, this is the real God. Never mind the gods that people have been praying to for hundreds and maybe thousands of years before this. This is the new God now. So it overly complicates things. And then what happens is believers start getting into these little rule books, and they got their Bibles and their Qurans and their this and that, and they think they have the quotes from the God, which I think is insanity to think that God can be quoted. The Bible quotes God sometimes rambling for 30 paragraphs. The guy doesn't stop yapping. And there's no way they could have written that down. There's no way they could have gotten that right. But each religion starts getting very protective and saying, no, this is my book, and my book says God said, this, chocolate brownies are delicious. But no, my God says they're horrible and they're bad for you. And this God says, I invented chocolate brownies. I know what I'm talking about. And then it just gets so complicated because you can't ever prove this, right? So you're butting heads with the Hindus who think they're right about everything, the Muslims who think they're right about everything, the Jews who think they're right about everything, the Christians who think they're right about everything, the agnostics who think they're right about everything. It's so much easier just to say, until I have evidence that this God is real, I'm just not going to buy into it. It takes too many brain cells. It takes, if you believe in tithing, it takes thousands of dollars of your money over the course of your lifetime. It takes energy. It takes time. You're spending Sundays in church when you could be out golfing or swimming or just taking a nap. It eats up your life, and for no real good reason other than the fact you were told to believe this, most likely by somebody else. There's no reason to devote hours and hours of your day to a God that cannot be proven. I don't think it doesn't make any sense.
So I guess I agree with you what you say, and you guys seem pretty educated. So I guess my next question to ask would be, so if we haven't found any proof of a God, do you think that just means we logically can't prove God, or do you think that means we don't have the tools, or we just don't have the things to decipher if a God exists? Because I mean, if God is probably, it's obviously wouldn't be physical. So are we expecting a physical way to prove a God, or is there just ways to prove that we just lack the ability to use? Is kind of what I'm asking.
Well, I think a big issue is that if we think that there's gaps in our knowledge, so therefore there must be a God, you're just asserting anything, and we fall back into that definitional thing that I'm saying. I could insert anything. I could insert the tooth fairy. So just that we don't have the knowledge for all the answers doesn't mean there's a God. But if people were able to present some sort of evidence that things would have to be created, and we didn't have any evidence that a natural reason occurred, or if we had overwhelming evidence that surpassed that of the Big Bang and things like that, that this God did create everything, then science, me, Spencer, everybody would shift that way, because that's what science does. Science is always evolving because we look at the evidence, and whatever has the greatest mound of evidence is where science goes.
Wouldn't saying quote unquote God doesn't exist, wouldn't that have to be proven false to be scientific weight? You know what I'm saying?
Well, God does not exist would be a philosophical I would be going. Yeah, I would be coming at the actual fact that God doesn't exist from a philosophical standpoint because I would be using logical deduction.
Okay, that makes sense. So, are you guys? My question is: Are you guys like? Have you guys been Christian before, or have had a religion in the past? Then.
Yeah, I was a pastor for 10 years.
Okay, so you kind of like, you don't mind me asking, what shifted your change and like what you believed in and like how you choose what you like want to follow and like believe in?
I read the Bible, and the Bible is full of contradictions. Jesus literally says things that are atrocious, and I just like couldn't keep making up excuses for it anymore. I had to look at it from an honest lens because I got to a point where my life was where I had to knuckle down and look at myself. And with that came the Bible, and then looking at everything and just being honest and just being like, you know, this doesn't make sense. And then from there, it went, I read the Quran, I read the Tao Te Ching, I read a lot of different books that are religious based, and, you know, all of them led to the same place. Like the Tao is much more like feelings based, and it's not so much about worship or anything like that. But even in that, it was like there's all of this stuff that isn't factual in it, that I started looking at science and deconstructing the things I was taught about science and actually hearing what scientists had to say and reading things that scientists publish and are peer reviewed. And that led me to be like, wow, to keep me in religion, I was lied to about what science says. I was lied to about the process of science. And like science was like, then I was like, oh, I'm going to look more into science. And then I realized, you know, when you really look at science, he left. But when you really look at science, hopefully you're still here, for what it really says, you will find that honesty in science than when you ever deal with somebody telling you about religion.
Yeah, and at some point, you know, I know the guest isn't there anymore, but if something, you know, the old saying, like, if it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, you know, it probably is a duck. At some point, you logically have to conclude that if something remains invisible, undetectable, unmeasurable, you can't ever see it, you know, it's all just in your head, really, at that point. You have to kind of acknowledge that it may be all those characteristics, because it isn't real. You know what I mean? Like, when the little kid looks under his bed night after night for the boogeyman, he swears the boogeyman's there, and he checks every night, like for 18 years of his life, he checks under the bed for the boogeyman. The boogeyman's never there, never in the closet, never sleeping in the attic. It's probably a good indication the boogeyman is not real, and it's a figment of the kid's imagination. I mean, at some point, you got to say, like, I got to conclude that. I mean, a rational brain can't keep concluding otherwise in the face of non-evidence, but that's what religions do. People do it by the billions.
That is facts. Thank you guys all again for being here. We're almost to 100K. We have about 45 more minutes taking callers. If you want to get in on the action and you're a theist, or you have strong thoughts against the LGBTQ or something like that, come up, talk to me in Radio Spencer. We are willing to talk to you about those topics, both religion and social issues. Both. And guys, we have great people coming up as well. Spencer will be a reoccurring guest on this show. We have Lobes, we have Hammy, we have Justin, the Deconstruction Zone, we have Joel Reads Bible, we have hopefully at some point Daniel Green, but he's dodging, he's scared of me. And we just have we have Christina Carroll, which I was more than happy to get. Thinker, I haven't heard back from, but I know that it's hard for her to make Mondays and Thursdays. We actually had to do a special live last time we got her on. But we have so many good co-hosts. We have Benny and Volcy doing it on the night I can't be here to keep the show going. It is just this show, I think, is going to be amazing. I think at some point we will have other people that host and co-host under the JA debates, and that is the goal. The goal is that I will still do this Mondays and Thursdays, but the goal is to have it more than Mondays and Thursdays. Have enough people that want to be a part of this that they can that we can have it on other nights where other people are hosting with other co-hosts under JA debates. That's the hopes. And then eventually maybe even get to doing it like 5 days a week or something. But
that's awesome.
we're going to have to work towards that. We're going to have to, as a team, work towards that. And I would love to get there. But right now, the first couple months is going to be Mondays and Thursdays. And then also one Tuesday a month for Pride Night.
Daniel Green's in the house, by the way. Daniel Green's in the comments.
Fluff, I've reached out to. I have not heard back from Fluff. I would love to have Fluff on here as well. There's Rhea. Rhea can't do it right now because of job and kids. But Rhea is. This is my own thing, and don't take any offense to this, anybody. Rhea's my favorite. Like, to watch live. She's on it. And she's spicy, she's very knowledgeable, and I just love Rhea's style, and I would love to have her back on my show. She is phenomenal. Love her so much.
Says, I'm not scared, okay? Says Daniel Green in the chat.
Daniel.
I love Daniel.
I do too. He is amazing. Yes, Rhea is amazing as well, but Daniel is amazing too, and we will get him on here at some point. The problem is the time difference between me and Daniel. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing he's probably just getting up, maybe. Okay, maybe I'm a little scared. I am going to heaven, and you are not, Daniel. Remember, I won Eternal Life on your show by answering the trivia questions. So, you should be scared. I'm eternal and you are not. But I will, if you want to come up, I have some trivia questions I can ask you to try to earn your right at some point. Lobes. I answered questions the Christians couldn't, alright? So, I deserve my eternal life.
By the way, Joyful, congrats. We're at 101K of the heart.
Thank you guys so much for all the likes.
Especially on the backup account.
On the backup account
too. This is crazy.
First night doing this, gone for a month. You guys are amazing. These things can't happen without the chat. Guys, we see you. We appreciate you. We remember your names, even though we don't shout you out necessarily by name. We remember each and every one of you. We see you. We see the hard work you put into these lives, and we appreciate y'all so much. It is.
Take care, Daniel.
Amazing. I got a jet. You'll be back for your eternal life. We'll see about that. What about Born Again Atheist? Born Again Atheist, me and her are mutuals. I sent her a message, never heard back, and then I got full for August. I plan on sending her another one. I do love Born Again Atheist. I think she does good work. We'll have to see the vibes, because she's a little more charismatic and has a lot of theatrics. So I don't know how she will like doing like a sit-down talk like this, but we'll see. She may enjoy it, she may not. Hopefully we'll get on her and we can test it out and see. I also have been in the works trying to get Skeptical Heretic on here. Skeptical is one of my friends, and I'm hoping that at some point she will be able to join us. I know she's busy, and then she also does... yes, she did. And I know she also does the line occasionally and stuff like that. So she's a busy person. So hopefully we will get some people like that on here. We, of course, will have Justin will be a reoccurring guest, and so will Joel Reads Bible at least once a month. We'll have them too, which is just amazing. They're both awesome. Mezzo's too good for us, but that's okay.
What about Sarah at Leaving Faith? Have you reached out to her?
Leaving.
She teams up with Justin.
Sarah, yes, I have reached out to her. We are working on something for September, but I'm not sure yet what that's going to look like.
I like her a lot.
No, yeah, she's awesome. I wish I could get my brother on here. He's a campus pastor. You know, my brother, I have two brothers that are pastors of churches. I have a dad that is an elder. I have a brother that's a deacon. My sisters are like head of nursery and all that stuff because, of course, they can't do the important things because they're women and all that good stuff that comes with religion. So I understand that. I wish I could get some of my siblings in here to. They do come in. I see them come in occasionally and just lurk, but they never comment. They never. And I wish I could get them to come up and have an honest discussion, or even just have an honest discussion. But guys, do you guys like the new format? I do want to hear back from you guys. Things we could change, things we could do different. We're definitely going to have to come up with something better for the call-ins from YouTube because we're having a lot of issues. We might be able to figure out Video Ninja a little better in the future, but I like this so far.
I think it's great. I like it. I wish more Christians would courage up and give us a call. That would make it a little more fun.
It would.
I like this. I think it's going to be great. And the fact that this is... I just started my first backup account. I only have like 100 people on that. And it's weird. My videos are getting more... I only have 2 pieces of content on there, and I have more views on some of the videos than on my one with 12,000 followers. So I might start using that as a main, too, just to see where it goes. I don't know. But this is awesome.
It's... this account has been around for quite some time. It has a little over 2,000 followers, but I've done a lot of different things with it, from troll accounts to, like, I've done all sorts of things with this account. So, like, some of my followers don't watch, like, probably have nothing to do with these kind of debates on this account, and so I don't know, but it is kind of a builder account in that my other one is, Smiling Apostates, but my ADHD kicked in with that. So we're going to go to that, and then hopefully I'll remember what I was talking about. Smiling Apostate, it is his birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. We love you, and you are a great supporter of the community, and make sure you're following Smiling Apostate. They have good content, very comical deconstruction. If you're into comedy and deconstruction at the same time, the Smiling Apostate is there for your needs when it comes to the videos. They're quite amusing. Now I have to remember what I was saying.
Boy, I forgot what I was hearing you say because I was following you along, and then I got distracted too. And now
my ADHD.
Sometimes I walk into a room and I don't know. I walk into a room and I don't know why I'm there. And sometimes I walk into live streams and I don't know why I got in there. I don't know what I'm doing there.
Oh, followers of the backup account. Yeah, so I think my other account will remain making content and things like that. But I think I'm going to try to build this one. And I know that a lot of my followers, I'm going to make a lot of little videos trying to send people over this way from there. But like a lot of my followers are throughout a whole year, and most of them don't come around anymore and stuff like that. They might not even use TikTok anymore. It's kind of how it seems to go. Like you have these people that are around for a while, then they just kind of move on. Then you have a new group of faces you see a lot, and then you have some stragglers of OGs. So, I think we can build here, and that's what I'm going to try to do with this account, is build JA debates, and as this, and then if I have free time, go live singly over on Joyful Apostate and do some cooking there, but most of all, I think we're going to focus on JA debates, and this account would be my goal, I think. We had a great turnout for our first night on this account, so I don't think that we'll have any issues switching to this account.
No, I think it's going to grow real quick.
Let me see. We've got 62 new followers tonight. We've had 2,000 different viewers. I mean, we've, like, for being the backup first night doing this, that's a great night. It's a great night. We have over 100,000 likes. Thank you all so much. You're amazing. You guys are just amazing. I met everybody through Justin, too. Justin was the first person I followed from Deconstruction, and first person I ever talked to. I went up on his live when he still only had like 20 people in his lives. And that's kind of where I started, was going up there and paneling on his, and I kind of just let Justin do his thing and hung out, and then eventually he talked me into doing my own lives, and here we are.
Yeah, I think you were the first deconstruction content creator I followed in here. I think when I came out, like, I didn't even know. I had to have my youngest daughter, who's almost 18 now, explain to me deconstruction, because I had already been through it by like a decade. Like, I had already stopped believing. But I had never really heard that term before, and then I got on TikTok, and I'm seeing that, and I started following you and Crystal, and then the algorithm started suggesting, I think Justin was third maybe, and I couldn't believe the number of really top-notch people on here sharing the same and, you know, similar and also very different stories too about how they deconstructed. But it's a great network of support here.
Oh, it is. And I think a big part of it is a lot of us, when we left Christianity, we lost our whole support group. We lost our best friends. We lost basically our family members. We lost a lot of things, close connections we had. And it was hard until, like, when I found this group, like, it was, finding the community on here was life-changing for me. Because I had deconstructed, but deconstructed is really like a poor term for it. It was, I was hit with the cold hard truth that I didn't believe anymore, and my brain just went haywire because I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know who I was without it, and I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. Everybody I knew was still in it. And I would call people that I used to would have called, and they would tell me, like, where my name came from is one of my good friends, Robert, who I helped with a church, Redeemer Fellowship Church. I called him and I was like, man, I don't believe. I think it's all bullshit. I don't believe. And I was like, can you hear me out? And he was like, no, this is apostasy. You are an apostate. And that's where my name came from. And I was like, and later down the road, like, because that stuck with me. I was like, man, my good friend who I had been in ministry with is like, no, you're an apostate. This is not okay. Like, shunning me basically and calling me an apostate, and that stuck with me. And then eventually I was like, you know what? Like, I started going to therapy and doing things that weren't Jesus related to get free from mental health and things like that, and I started feeling better. I started, like, on my anxiety medication, which I struggled with anxiety my whole life, and I started feeling better, and then I was like, joyful apostate. Like, I am better now leaving the faith. And that's how I got my name.
That's cool. Skeptics don't understand the spiritual realm.
Oh, I'll talk about the spiritual realm. We don't even need to talk about God. There's logical contradiction with the spiritual realm as well, so we can talk about that. We have a half hour left, so if you want to get in, if you are up and you want to get in, looks like a demon talking through him. Cool. If you guys want to get in on the conversation over on YouTube, there is up at the top of the chat a pinned thing that tells you how to get there. And then on TikTok, you guys know how to do it. Get in that guest box and we will talk to you. I know some invites got sent out to some people, but I'd rather talk to people that actually want to talk. If there's any of you out there, because I'd like to have a good conversation, maybe talk about the spiritual realm, talk about God, talk about the LGBTQIA, all of these different issues that we're having. The minor history of Doug. Nice. I like that name. Other than that, we got 27 minutes. So we're going to sit up here and chit-chat until we either get an op or it gets the Q&A time. And then it's a free-for-all for all friendlies. Anybody that wants to come up, if you're on YouTube, you can come up and ask a question through the Video Ninja. Or if you are on TikTok, you can come up, ask any question you have for me or Spencer, or general for the both of us about deconstruction, about LGBTQ, about anything that you have a question about our stances or what we think. Because unlike religion, atheists don't agree on everything. Now, I would never bring on a guest or a co-host that was a transphobe or a homophobe or racist in any way. That just wouldn't happen. So you can assume that if I brought somebody on, I at least have a grasp on that part of them. So, but we are more than willing to answer the nuance of these questions, because nuance is going to change from person to person.
You know, Joyful, while we're waiting for somebody, one thing that I try to do, and I don't know what, I think it's like the brain, it's probably the equivalent of what happens to when we go through difficult experiences. I get, what do you call it? Like the brain blocks it out so that it's almost like amnesia of the event so that it heals you faster, if that makes sense. Sometimes we forget things.
Disassociation?
Yeah,
maybe. That's a little more repressed.
I'm
repressed
trying to
memory.
remember. Maybe, something like that, because I was a Christian for 40 years, and I honestly try to go back to, I remember the things I used to say and the things I used to believe, and I see myself in church and parochial school and marrying a very, very ultra religious woman in my now ex-wife, my first wife, but I'm trying to really dive into my brain, like what was I thinking? You know, it's kind of one of those things like when you look back at somebody you dated, maybe you're like, why was I dating that person? Or why did I marry that person? And I can't quite pinpoint it. Like, it's weird. It's almost like that part of my memory is gone or something. And I think it's like maybe my own psyche trying to heal me from remembering it. But I try to be patient sometimes when I hear kind of goofballs going off on stuff, because I go, yeah, that's goofy, but I used to say that to other people for like 40 years, so I ought to be a little more patient. But I honestly don't know, because I consider myself a pretty intelligent guy, like how I fell for all the things that I now so easily see through. You know what I mean? Like, how do I see through it now, but I didn't when I was 25 or when I was 35? Or like, why did it take me so freaking long to see through this stuff? And I don't have an answer. I don't know why it didn't happen sooner for me.
Well, I think for me, a lot of mine was pressure. And I think the reason I said that is I think I could have thought more critically, because I'm and I'm not speaking for you, but for me, I am a very people-pleasy type person. Like, I hate people being upset with me, especially my parents, like, having these expectations of me. It made me look past anything that I would have been doubtful of to make that relationship work better. So, I think that's how it started for me, and then I had just had to convince myself that it was true for so many years that eventually it's like ingrained in you that it's just true no matter what. Yeah. And like me and my wife would have these same conversations we had, and I've said this before on here, and some people have been shocked, but my wife literally asked me a question that Skits and Bits used to ask all the time, and something that everybody would find so appalling was, if God told you to unalive your kids, would you do it? And I told my wife straight up, if I believed God said to do it, I would do it. Like, no hesitation. Like, I was at that point, like, I believed with everything in me. If God told me to do it, I would do it, and we would all be better for it. And I was convinced of that. That's how far gone I was after she had left the faith, and she and I was mad. Like, me and her had marital issues, but not because of her. It was because of me. Like, I thought, like, I was dead set that she was leading my kids to hell. My daughter came out as a lesbian, or like, she liked girls, and she privately told my wife when she was 13. Or no, not 13. She was 12. And, like, she was affirming of that. And I was like, what? You got, like, you're leading our kids to hell. Like, and then, like, coming, like, after deconstructing, I'm like, you know, I always found boys attractive, you know, and girls. And I always felt like something was wrong with me. Like, it was a test for me, and I would pray and cry about it. Like, as an adult, married, like, if I found a guy attractive, I would pray and cry and pray that God would take those sinful thoughts away from me. And, like, now looking at it in my daughter, and I was like, I don't want my daughter to, like, feel this shame and guilt her whole life that I had to endure. Like, this is crazy. Like, the more it devolved, the more I was just like, this is crazy. How did I think that? How did I think that? And you're right. It's hard to think back. Because my wife, I'll talk to about a conversation that we have, and she's like, you used to say that to me. And I'm like, I did, but I can't remember it. I know I did. But I can't pinpoint a memory where I did. So I think it is. I think it's part of us being like, we know we were like that, but there's no way I was really like that. You know what I mean?
Don't think about it too much.
Yeah. Yes, it's very interesting to hear other people's deconstruction journeys, because some people are a lot less affected, like Justin. He's a lot less affected by his journey in a lot of ways. He was definitely affected by his journey, but in a lot of ways, like, but then you have people like Joel, who grew up but like, he just was like, I don't believe this, and he was open with his parents. I still have a hard time with my parents, like, talking to them about these things. Like, I just do. It's hard. Like, I know they see me on TikTok, I know they see me on YouTube, but then in person, like, I'll have these conversations, but it's not like, I couldn't have a conversation with them like I do with somebody on here.
Yeah. You know what I'm finding is, and this is so weird, because I didn't think I'd ever have like to have this conversation, and a while ago, somehow, I don't know, I don't even do very much YouTube, and the YouTube I do is kind of rehashed, what do you call it, reused TikTok videos. I'll just put on there, right? And somehow I ended up in the feed of one of my coworkers, and he thought he got a kick out of it. He's like, "You're on YouTube. I didn't know that. I'm following you." And then like he had to tell all the other coworkers, like, "Yeah, Spencer's on." Yeah. And then they figured that I was kind of repurposing the TikToks on there, so then they started following me on TikTok, right? So then this is the awkward moment where your boss meets you at the water cooler at work, and you just think you're gonna have a regular conversation and stuff, and then he goes, "Boy, you really hate God, don't you?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" I just like slumped in my chair, and I'm like, "Why are you bringing this up?" And like, "Why are you watching me on?" It's kind of cringy when like coworker. I don't know about your relationship with your coworkers, but I work in corrections and law enforcement, and it tends to be you're going to find probably more COs and more cops and more, that are probably believers in Jesus or believe in God than aren't. Maybe. I don't know if that's a stereotype or not, but I'm finding that I'm like the lone guy in there that doesn't believe in this God anymore. And everyone's kind of giving me a hard time. Like, you really don't believe in God? I'm like, I didn't say I don't believe in God. I just don't believe in your God anymore. And people have a hard time handling that. I think they think that's worse than being an outright atheist. If you believe there could be a God, but that it's too preposterous that their God's the real one. Yeah. So they don't like that. But I don't know if anyone else can relate to that. But not only did I deconstruct in front of my family, and you're right, I have family members that still won't talk to me to this day. I have friends that are no longer my friends. I had lifelong friends that like just mysteriously went off grid at the time that I came out with all this stuff. But now I have a different element. Now I have coworkers that are giving me a hard time. Like, I saw your TikTok, and I'm like, oh my God, stop talking about it. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about my TikToks. And if you don't like them, basically unfollow me. I mean, you don't have to keep seeing my stuff if you don't like it.
Yeah. The craziest thing happened the other day, though. It was the first time, like, out in the wild, somebody I had no clue who they were, knew who I was. I was 2 hours away in Kentucky. I was working, and I stopped at a gas station. I went inside to get a Gatorade, I think. And this guy said, "Hey, you're joyful." And I was like, I like double took. And I was like, it was this old guy. He's probably 70 some years old. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, you're joyful from TikTok." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Nice to meet you." He was like, I always watch your stuff. I never say anything, but I always watch it. And I was just like,
that's cool.
I was like, that is awesome. Like, that made my day. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Cool. It's crazy that, like, I don't have that many followers, and somebody 2 hours away knew, like, I have no clue who they were. Not the slightest.
Really good. No, you impact a lot of people, and I'm glad that happened because there's a lot of people out there toying with this deconstruction journey that maybe just need to hear someone sensible, guide them. People think like we're here to deconvert Christians. I certainly don't do that, and I know you don't do that either. There might be some that's their intention to get as many people to flee. Joel makes a joke out of it, like, time to dump the Bible and stuff, but I just want people to read the Bible. Let them dump it on their own, but I kind of have a weird obsession lately, Joyful, with Bibles. Like, I can't go into a thrift store now without coming out with Bibles. I have, like, the Children's New International.
Mm-hmm.
This is I was in high school when this came out, I think. It's in mint condition. Whoever bought this for a kid, probably a teenager, he never read it, okay? She never read it, never opened. I found a Catholic Bible. Let me show you this. This is...
That's crazy.
Look at this thing. I can't even lift it up with one hand. This is the
my goodness.
Look at this is my head. There's very few things bigger than my head. This is only one. Look how thick it is. This is like the Bible that the Catholic priests would take up to the altar. And it's from 1961. And again, the pages are like mint. It's like no one's fingerprints have ever touched these pages. Like, do people read Bibles, or they just either are gifted Bibles and say no thanks, they're going to donate them, or they're Christians in name only, and they don't read their book? I rarely find Bibles that are like dog-eared and tagged and highlighted. They're all like mint condition.
Do you know what's crazy? Is like even the little bit of I knew the Apocrypha, but I never read the Apocrypha because I was always just like whether it was school or whatever, the Apocrypha was heretical because I was Protestant. And like now reading some, because I've been trying to read more and more of the Apocrypha, and it's crazy, like the amount of the Bible that they just casted out and was like, no, that's no good. That's no good. Like it's crazy to me. But yeah, I also do that. There is a few different places in Evansville that thrift stores that give away Bibles for free, and I'll grab one every time I'm in there. I'll grab a different one. I never pay for them because like I don't know. I'd feel dirty giving any money to it.
I actually bought this one for $1. It's got to be fake leather. But I don't like having this version, but I think it's funny because Christians love it. It's the King James version. I got it for $1, and it looks like this thing's 60 years old. It's never been opened.
Nice. Granny, what's your age, and are you a theist?
I'm 20, and no, I don't subscribe to any religion or organization.
Oh, so you don't believe in God?
No, sir. I would say I know the concept of God, but nah, I don't.
Oh, right on. Then we're in agreement, and come back in about 10 minutes if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I have a hard time keeping people up that have like a grandma whatever profile, and then is that
I didn't.
like,
I missed it. What was the what was the avatar? I'm afraid to ask.
It was a woman. It didn't even look like a woman that was like grandma aged. It was just a woman.
Wow.
And as soon as they talked, I was like, oh, here we go. Granny Man. Oh, Granny Man. My family gave me that nickname. Did they give you the avatar? Did they give you the avatar? That, and we agree. Me and you agree that God doesn't exist. I understand the different concepts of God, but he doesn't exist. Oh, that looks like a man to you? Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe I looked at it wrong. I will come up here in a couple minutes and we'll talk. I'm sorry, Grandma Man.
What, you got the picture wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I associated the name and like it just looked like, I don't know. But I am sorry. I apologize officially. Yeah, that was my bad.
It's easy to like my eyes aren't so good anymore, so I see the avatars and sometimes I don't even know what I'm looking at. So weird.
Get Darth Dawkins in here, Apostate. Don't just make videos about him. Get him up in here. Spencer would love to talk to Darth.
He came into my chat the other day, and I used to think it was like entertainment value to take him as a guest, but he doesn't entertain at all. He drives people away. I mean, I'm struggling with viewers to begin with, so I'll have 30 viewers, and it'll be like 9 by the 5 minutes into talking with him.
Yeah, he's only been on my show one time, and it was literally. You'd have to ask Crystal. It was less. It was about as long as he was on Justin's, like 9 seconds or something like that. Because he said that we were talking about Jesus being a liar, and he said, And I was talking about how Jesus claimed that he would be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights, and he was like, he came up and all he said was, that's an idiom, right? And I said, an idiom? Well, 3 nights is specific. Was he in the grave for 3 nights? And he was like, this is what you atheists do. Well, and I stopped him. I was like, no, you're going to answer my question, Darth. You're going to answer my question. No, stop. You're going to answer my question. And he left. He was like, you're a child. And he left. And that was the only time. That and when I used to have a Darth Hawking account, I used to do lives as Darth Hawking. And he came up there once, and he was... It was pretty funny, but that was more for entertainment value than actually having a
there's some
conversation.
Christians that are entertaining, you know what I mean? But either I'm missing his whole thing, or it's not even like a shtick, is it? That's really like him, right? When he does his stuff, it's not even like he's trying to be that character. I mean, that's really who he is. What you see is what you get, I guess.
No, yeah, I think I for a while thought, I think P. Mars is a troll. I don't think P. Mars gives two shits about Christianity or anything else. But Gary is... He's just so far gone. He has no other way to rationalize Christianity, and that's why he does what he does. We got Paul coming up. Paul, what is your age, and are you a Christian?
I'm agnostic. I'm 24.
Right on. Did you... So do you believe that there is a God?
Yeah. I mean, there could be. I mean, I just want to ask you a question about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, there's been a few studies on the Eucharist bleeding, or having like a heart, like fleshly heart being part of it, if that makes sense. And supposedly there's been some science-based answers on it, and it hasn't been debunked. So I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts on it.
Just 1 second.
I don't believe it for a second. I want you to show me where it says it's been validated or it hasn't been debunked. I want to know whose blood it is, what type it is. I want to know what pastors and what priests have the same blood type that might be bleeding onto the host. There's all sorts of explanations, but the reason I know this is bunk is that bread doesn't bleed. Blood, there's no blood in bread. It just, you can't, like if I squeeze an orange, no one's ever squeezed an orange and gotten tomato juice to come out of it. It's impossible it comes out of the host. There just isn't. There's got to be, if this is in fact a thing, there's some explanation, and the most likely is hoax. And I bet you if they test it, it's not even real blood. I bet it's just ink, or maybe it's because I did magic for a long time. I was a magician kind of when my kids were little. I used to do birthday parties for them and stuff, and I learned all the tricks of magic, and there's some pretty compelling ones where it looks like you're putting a nail through your head and you're doing all this stuff that looks impossible, but it's obviously not impossible. It's very possible, and it's through trickery and through hoaxes and through positioning and camera angles and hucksters is what it is. I mean, I want you to show me a bona fide piece of bread that leaks human blood, and you can't do it. It's impossible. No one's ever done it.
Well, as far as my knowledge, I mean, it hasn't been debunked, so I just figured if you guys maybe could do a quick Google search and just, browse through the article and see what you guys thought.
Well, show me like a bona fide case of it. I'm seeing what it is. They're saying here during the Mass, the bread of the Eucharist begins to bleed, but it doesn't say where it's happened, how it's happened. The pictures I'm looking at don't look like any blood I've ever seen. I don't even know. I don't believe it. There's a story. I do some as a hobby paranormal investigations and stuff. And I used to live in a house that to this day I can't explain. For 11 years we lived in that house, and I'll be honest with you, it's probably what people would consider haunted. The most haunted place I've ever been in my life. It was a brand new tract home that my family and I bought in 2008 or whatever in California. California, and I saw things. Every member of my family, except for one, witnessed basically the same stuff, independent of each other. We couldn't quite. To this day, we don't know what we saw, but we saw something, right? And one of I started getting really big into the paranormal when that was happening and studying a lot of stuff. And there's a house that allegedly bleeds, like blood just comes through the walls. And I researched this, and it's supposed to be a real house. I can give you the address of it. Like the people there are like the new owners and stuff, and nothing paranormal happens for them, amazingly. But the previous owners, they swore up and down, and they have pictures and documentation, they say, of blood coming out of the walls. But you and I both know that unless you're hiding a body in the walls of your house, or there's a deceased animal in there that's rotting or putrefying, your walls are not going to bleed. Do you agree? Like plaster has never bled human blood. I mean, it just doesn't do that.
Right, of course.
Walls don't bleed. Houses don't bleed, and neither do loaves of bread or hosts of... Let me ask you this. Why doesn't Jesus just, at that point, just appear on the altar, come down off like the wooden cross, become a human being like Pinocchio became a real boy, and just show once and for all, like he could show his wounds and everything? Like, if that's a miracle, my friend, is if the cross in that church, the Jesus that's nailed onto that in artwork on display above the altar, turned into a real man. He came down into the crowd, and people are witnessing this, everyone at the same time. Why does God why are all these kind of what I call kind of stupid miracles, like bread bleeding or the Virgin Mary appearing on your toaster bread? You know, I mean, like Jesus appearing on the back of a donkey's behind. I mean, there's such ridiculous so-called miracles. Jesus could do better than that.
There is a forensic journal by a forensic scientist named Kelly Curse and Frank Ligage, that they say that the red found in the Eucharist after sitting was found to be fungus.
It looks bad. But Paul, like, why doesn't, let's go back to that, like common sense, right? The most logical answer. Why are miracles always these kind of obtuse, kind of weird, easily forged, easily hoaxed things? You couldn't really hoax if everyone in that congregation saw the wooden statue of Jesus come off the wall and become a human being. They knew it was wood. They knocked on it before they went in. Everyone's seen that same cross hanging there for 80 years that the church has been open. And all of a sudden that becomes literally Jesus, and he walks around and shakes hands with everybody. Then I'd probably be a Christian again. I'd probably reconvert to Christianity if that happened. But why is it always these nebulous, kind of silly, like the priest could have cut his own hand and like there are Christians who are so obsessed with making this stuff real. I could see a Christian cutting their hand with a little pocket knife, bleeding onto the host and saying, "Oh my God, it's bleeding." Look, I could see them doing that. I could see a priest doing it just to try to strengthen the faith of the parishioners. I wouldn't put it past them.
Wait, so hold on. So you're saying you used to be a Christian?
Yeah, for 40 years.
So what happened? What made you?
I'll be honest with you, I started thinking for myself instead of letting other people think for me. I reread the Bible critically this time, not like a zombie that believed everything was true because everyone told me it was true, and it made no sense. It didn't add up. There were more potholes than a B-movie series, and it didn't make sense. And just practical things, like telling God, I won't ask for anything, please alleviate my grandfather had shrunk to about 95 pounds with cancer. I remember I was 13 years old when he passed away, and all I asked was for some type of peace for him, and God wouldn't give it to him. And I go, if this God can't alleviate the pains of an 80-year-old man unaliving from cancer in front of his grandson, then this God is worthless. And I prayed and I prayed for simple things, powerful things. None of it happened.
Fair enough, but when it comes to,
you know what I mean, like it just didn't add up anymore. Like nothing added up anymore. Like what adds up for you? Like God's not there. I have a knock test that I do, and I know it sounds stupid, but here's the knock test, and I swear, as sincere as I've ever been, that I mean this. I do this almost on all my lives. If God wants me back as a Christian, I will give him my soul again. I will go back to church on Sundays. I will try to convert as many people to Christianity as possible. I'll be a devout Christian like I was for all those years. He'll have my soul back and we'll be best buds in heaven. All he has to do is do this. All he has to do is knock twice on this table right now. If my soul is worth anything to this God, he will knock twice on this to get me back. And I sincerely mean it. He must know that I'm sincere, because if he knows everything, he could see into my heart, and he knows I mean it. And I really do mean it. I have done this 100,000 times, and never have I heard 2 knocks come. I'll give you even better. If a child unaliving from cancer does this, do you think God could knock twice? Do you think Jesus could knock for that kid? Here's an example. A 7-year-old kid, Seattle Children's Hospital near where I live, unaliving from cancer. He's got never missed church since the time he was an infant. And all he wants is to get validation that Jesus is real and Jesus is going to meet him at the pearly gates and stuff. He's only got a few weeks to live. And he does the knock test. And he goes, Jesus, please, all you have to do is knock on my hospital table here, and I will expire here in a few weeks, which is your will, obviously, and I will see you at the gates of heaven. Please just knock twice on my table to give me some kind of consolation. Jesus will never do it. So he's either evil, he's either a real jerk. He doesn't have the power to do 2 knocks. He had the power to walk on water, turn water into wine, and do all this other nonsense, but he can't knock twice for a little kid to have hope. Or he just doesn't exist. You pick your option. But I think the knock test is a pretty simple one that would definitely make me a Christian again. If God at any time in my life knocks twice on my table, I promise you my life starting tomorrow morning will be as a fundamentalist Christian. I promise you. But God won't do that. God doesn't want me back, or he'd knock.
So to relate to what you went through, I mean, I lost my father to colon cancer, but we had a similar thing going on like that. But when it comes to you trying to having a personal encounter with God, and you're saying that if you was to have a personal encounter with God, you would become Christian and do all this good stuff. But what would you? Well,
I mean, I was a Christian without that stuff, but I convinced myself that God was talking to me. Like I'm sure Joyful did too. We all thought God was whispering to us or speaking in dreams. Or I think many Christians, it's not very unique. When you believe in something that passionately, you start believing that the answers come from the celestial entity, and then you realize that it's not.
Right. So Spencer, so what would you say for atheists who would quote unquote say they had a personal experience, the personal experience that you're looking for right now?
I'd want validation. I could tell you right now, I'm big on the Bigfoot community. I live in the Pacific Northwest. It's kind of the hotbed of Bigfoot sightings here. So I go on Bigfoot expeditions at least once every couple of years with a bunch of people that have really spent a lifetime studying Bigfoot and stuff, right? So I'm open-minded to it. But at some point, I interview people all the time when I was on the radio and off the radio that swore they were 3 feet away from a Bigfoot. They can't explain why they have, an 80 megapixel camera in their pocket, and they didn't come out. Nobody thought to lift the camera up and take a picture of a Bigfoot 3 feet away from them. Right. So instead we end up with grainy photos of Bigfoot that's 800 yards away. And it looks like a little pin on the ground. I'm skeptical. These, as Joyful will tell you, these personal stories, the reason why a lot of atheists and agnostics don't accept those is that, would you accept the Hindu who has the same story, or the Muslim who has the same story? Or it seems to me like with near-death experiences, you only want to believe the ones that justify your religion. You want to talk about all the NDEs that people go to Jesus and see the pearly gates and St. Peter and everything, but you don't want to hear the NDEs where people say they saw nothing but darkness, nothing but black. It's all black forever. There is no heaven. There is no hell. You don't want to hear those NDEs, do you? You just want to hear the NDEs from people that say, I saw Jesus, and I saw the cross, and I saw the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and it opened up and it bled from the Eucharist. And those are the stories you want to believe.
Well, Paul, it's time for friendlies and people to come up and ask Q&A. I think he answered your question, and we're going to move on to here because we're winding down the show. We end at 10. So thank you for being here, Paul. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Hopefully we will see you around in the future.
Fair enough. Thank you guys. Give you guys a follow.
Thanks, Paul.
Yep. See you. Tahir.
Hi.
What's your age?
My age is 30.
Bullshit.
Nah, it sure is. I
I'm just
earned it.
I'm just playing. What's your question?
So I'm here to hassle Spencer. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Spencer's been ignoring me, but I've been yelling at you in the comments for.
Oh gosh, I've been trying not to miss any. I'm sorry, I didn't do it intentionally. What was your question or your comment?
So whenever I hear you talk about your beliefs, you always, say that you're not an atheist. And when I hear you talk, it sounds a lot like agnosticism. And I was curious, like, if that's something you've ever looked into.
What's that? Being agnostic?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I am an agnostic. You're saying agnostic? You're not saying gnostic. You're saying an agnostic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. See, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Joyful has something to say about this, but I always thought that was the default of like a human being. Like technically, I don't think there's a God out there, but I don't rule it out, right? I think that's kind of the default. It's almost like we don't know. It's almost like agnostic on Bigfoot. Could there be like a man-ape running around the forest and we just haven't really caught one? Yeah, I guess. So maybe I'm an agnostic on Bigfoot. I'm not an atheist against Bigfoot, but I'm not a believer either. But I think that's kind of our default, right? Like nobody really knows if there's a God out there, and nobody really knows that there is. It's just, it seems like if people are intellectually honest, they're kind of in the middle, I think, right? Like we don't know. An atheist can be very convinced there is no God, but they can't prove there's no God any more than a Christian can prove there is a God.
I agree.
So that's why I kind of like get stuck in the middle. Joyful, do you think I'm an atheist? I mean, I don't think it's a dirty word, but I don't think I am one. If I hold out that there could be a creator.
Atheist. That's what I was going to say. I think you're an agnostic atheist. That's what I am. Go ahead, Joyful.
Yeah, I would say agnostic atheist because an atheist is just a lack of theism. A theistic God, like you don't believe in any particular God, is all atheist means. And then an agnostic means that there's no certainty in something. So if you can be agnostic on a God and also an atheist, and that's where I would say I am. I put God does not exist because it's good for debate, it's good for like the Phil Bros and all that, but I don't think I could ever substantiate that there is no God. I can just make it to where a God is not necessary. Kind of. So I agree with you. I don't think there's any way to prove that there is no God, but I do believe that there is ways to make it less probable. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Also, I think some people, though, and I guess you could make an argument for it's like dishonest, but I think some people truly and honestly, like if you asked them, are you agnostic on the idea of a God? They would straight up be like, no. Or yes. Wait, no, they'd say no. They'd be like, absolutely not. I am atheist. I don't think there's any possibility at all. And so I think that's why there is a distinct category for, or like label, if you will, for like straight stone cold atheists, and then people who are agnostic. Also, sometimes you're both. There's also this term I heard of recently. It's called agnostic humanism, which I've heard of like a humanist, but I've never really heard of the two together. So like that's another classification. So yeah, that's all my question was. I just wanted to, because you're like, there's no label for me, and I'm like, but there is. So
no, I've always thought that that I'm very agnostic. I'm agnostic on a lot of things. Like I don't necessarily think there's no Loch Ness monster, but I'm not going to hold my breath until they pull one out of the water. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm kind of agnostic to that. Like is it possible that there's a prehistoric creature that just never, somehow he was able to keep procreating and still exists to this day? Yeah, I guess logically. I mean, it's not beyond logic that could possibly happen, but I have never seen it. So
I think my thing is that most everything has a possibility. Most everything. I wouldn't say everything, but most everything has a possibility. But that's not worth believing in. So and I would say a lack of belief would be atheism. So if the probability isn't there and it's just a possibility, that's how we derive all of our beliefs and notions, is based on probabilities, would be my viewpoint.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay. Well, thank you for indulging me. Adore both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Kick me on out of here.
Love you, Tahir.
Thanks,
Tell, gosh, I'm trying to remember her name. We'll do Pastor soon. Just tell her we'll do Pastor soon. You know what I'm talking about. Can't remember the name, but we will do Pastor soon. Promise. Then we have Granny back up here. Granny, I am sorry about earlier. My brain was not working, I guess. But anyway, what question do you have for us?
All right. I'm coming from a foundation of like knowledge of self. So what kept your integrity going through your like transition, your transcendence, your ascendant? You know, like from Christianity to this stage. How did you keep your integrity?
Oh, I kept my integrity because every mind is evolving. So you can truly believe something that is untrue and even defend it. But being honest would be when new evidence arises, being able to say I was wrong. Being dishonest would be holding tight to a belief even though the evidence has shown you it's wrong, and just clinging and saying, no, this is true. So I trust myself more because I was able to take the evidence that was provided and make a change in my belief.
All right with that. Okay. Growing up in a church, right? My great grandma, she's a preacher. My great granddad, like got prophets and like stuff as uncles and aunties. I see this, like the struggle on like it's like they're fighting. They're in combat with themselves. Most Christians are in a war with themselves. You feel me? So like they'll tend to just take it out on others or the objects around them. You feel me? Even though they want to take it out on God, the person they blame it on all the time, or the devil. You feel me? So like, do you think that we are in a time like where we're gonna see like a lot of those people taking it out on the rest of the world?
I'm not sure that I fully understand.
Like the emotions of like the people that are stuck in the Abrahamic religion doctrine. It's like a psychological warfare they go through, and like experience being around people like that. You know, they're very harmful to society. You think like we're gonna start seeing a lot more? I think we're already seeing it, but like, do you think like we're gonna see it a lot more?
Well, I think that we are already seeing it in MAGA and things of that nature. But I think even more importantly, we'll see it a lot more in our personal lives, because the people that are like so indoctrinated into these Abrahamic faiths are not going to go. Are not going to go down without a fight. We see that with like the Protestants when they moved away from Catholicism, the amount of violence that ensued. I think it's going to be as violent physically? No, but I think that psychologically it will be very, very mentally violent and abusive to people, because they're going to go down swinging to cling to this belief. And they see it fading. It's fading more and more every day.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I gotta ask. Gotta see like, because you guys, I know you don't classify yourself as Christian. Everyone should classify themselves as they want to. Be unique. So, like, gratitude, man. Thank y'all for like promoting all this and pushing the truth.
Hey, thank you.
I appreciate you, and again, I am sorry. You have a great night, and I hope to see you around in the future. guys, we're winding down. If anybody else has any questions, we're going to take callers for the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to do our wind down. I'm going to do a summation, asking Spencer some questions about how he felt about the night, and then we are going to do my closing, talking about what's to come and things like that. So if you want to come up, you have like 3 minutes now. Come on up and ask your questions. I will extend the time more if I have people in the box. So, but we are stopping at 10. I'll just have to cut down on my summations. We have Lobes in the box. Lobes probably has a question for Spencer.
What's up, Lobes?
Hey, what's up, guys? Good
What's
to
up?
see you all.
What's going on?
I was able to listen to a good chunk of it. I missed some of it, unfortunately. I am still at work, technically, so if you hear like forklifts and stuff, I'm hiding right now. But yeah, I was just curious. I have sort of a fun question. If you could choose one of the miracles that happens in the Bible to actually be a real thing that happened, which one do you think you would pick? Which one do you think is the coolest? Or you can take it seriously, or you can be funny with it. But I'm just curious what you would say.
I'm going to say water into wine before Joyful gets a chance to say it. But that's a damn good superpower. If I could turn water into wine, unbelievable.
I would become a wine guy. I would be a wine guy. Easy. And
I'm already a wine guy. It's just too expensive.
Sell the wine.
I would say the miracle that I would, like, if I got to see one firsthand.
Well, whichever one you would prefer to have actually happened in history. But yeah, you could take it that way too.
Like, if I was seeing it, it would definitely, I think it would be walking on water. Because, like, I just don't even understand the logistics of this. Is your feet sinking a little bit into the water to where the water's, like, getting your feet wet? Or, like, you, like, literally, like, hover? Like, I don't understand, like the logistics.
On every little ripple, and your feet
yeah,
are
I
just
just
wobbling.
Yeah, the logistics doesn't make sense to me, so I'd want to see that one. But if it's just the one that I think would be great if it did happen, that's interesting. I guess I don't know the world any more than another.
Spencer,
I'd have to think about
what if
that.
you could only turn water into shitty wine?
It depends. It depends. Can I buy some good wine first and then drink the shitty wine? Because
this wine tastes like water.
I can make that right now. I can go to my kitchen and make it right now.
You know, I always thought when I was deconstructing, humor always helped me get through it. So I was always picturing, like, if Jesus... Now they're doing it with, like, AI videos, you know, but this was years before AI was even known to be a thing or was a thing. But I always envisioned, like, when I used to do magic for the kids when they were little, like, did Jesus, like, go in a back room, like he was in the green room of the temple, and he's like, please don't interrupt me. I've almost got this right. I've got the water turning into Gatorade. I'm so close to turning this to wine. No more interruptions, you know. Like, did he practice relentlessly, or did he just do it the first time and just wave a magic wand and it was right the first time? Or, like you said, they taste it and go, it's kind of a little bit too much vinegar in this one. Could he work at it a little bit more and come back to it?
I would have liked to have heard the reviews, like, and the wine was good. Oh, it was good, okay, you know, or the wine was, no, it was mid. It was some mid wine. It was a carpenter. He wasn't a wine guy.
So, like, because most of my experience in church was Reformed Baptist, or non-denominational, but we were Reformed Baptist. We held all the principles. We just weren't part of the Baptist convention. But hearing the different people in the community talk about alcohol, because the Calvinists were very much, Jesus turned water into wine when they were already drunk. And Paul says you shouldn't be getting drunk in communion and hoarding all the wine, that you have your own houses to do that in. So there's not really, like, anything wrong with being drunk. It would just be better not to be drunk. And then you have like the like Southern Baptists that is like a drop of freaking alcohol and you're going to hell. Like so like just this diversity within like Baptists on the whole alcohol thing. And I always thought it was funny because like even me, like I was Calvinist, so I drank all the time when I was a Christian. Like there was nothing wrong with going out and drinking and doing whatever. But I had friends within the Baptist church that thought that it was like abhorrent, an abhorrent thing to even drink any alcohol. So it's kind of crazy, like the different takes on even that.
Yeah, I was Baptist too. I'm gonna finish up work, but I just wanted to see what y'all would say to that fun question. So maybe think about it, and I'll ask you again next time. And we'll see if you can have a good miracle. Sleep on it.
I think I could get a good miracle that would be good for the world. Maybe when Jesus said you should unalive children that curse their parents. I don't know. All right. We'll see you later, Lobes.
See you, Lobes.
We will have Lobes up here on the 14th. Don't miss Lobes. He'll be up here co-hosting on the 14th of this month, and it will be a good time. Spencer, in our closing,
yes,
how did you feel about the live as a whole? First off,
being
our
liked
pilot
it. I hope you'll have
episode.
me back again. I hope I passed and you'll have me on again because I really had a good time.
Oh yes,
No,
we'll
I
have you in
enjoyed it.
September. I promise the people.
Oh, I
I
appreciate
promise you. September, we will have a date for you. Spencer, like you're awesome. I love your demeanor. I love just the whole thing. Like your voice, everything just bodes well for this kind of environment. So
I appreciate it. I had a great time, and the time went by fast too.
It did. It went by really fast. We didn't have a huge crowd. But we had a great night tonight. Guys, make sure you're following Spencer. If you're not following Spencer, what are you doing? This is the account that we are going to be live on Thursday for sure, and I'll make a decision after that for sure. Elgo is coming up. Elgo, I'm going to make a concession. You're past the time for Q&A, but I will make a concession. Yes. So make sure you come back, Spencer. If you're not following Spencer, make sure. Elgo, do you have a question for Spencer or me or the both of us?
Actually, yes, I do have a question for both of you, and that is simply, gentlemen, have you considered the trees?
I looked at the trees, I saw the trees, and I said, fuck the trees.
Good one. Actually,
That's just me.
here's kind of a fun question to end the night. If you could pick your favorite comic book character, or if you're not into comic book characters, just a character from fiction, who you would use to represent as, say, your personal god, who would it be?
Oh boy, I had an answer when it was just your favorite superhero, but that's a trickier part.
Well, you can stick with comic books.
Superhero. Gosh,
For
my
me, it
camera's
was Batman
screwing up again.
because he was a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like I like the fact that he was just kind of obsessed with fighting crime and stuff, but he wasn't infallible, and he wasn't, and at least had kryptonite. But who carries that around, right? So he'll live forever. He's immortal. There's no real challenge to that. Like Batman, if he takes the bullet in the wrong, angle, he's a goner. Superman, he spits him out of his teeth and stuff. So I kind of like the fallibility of Batman just being a regular guy.
I'm gonna say Robin.
Robin?
Yep.
Okay, which one?
I liked Robin. I know there were several, huh?
There were several.
You like
probably,
the OG Robin?
Yeah, I like the OG Robin the best.
Okay, Dick Grayson. He's now Nightwing.
Yeah. I like the idea of the submissive part. I would like a god that was submissive to me, so. Or submissive.
Valid. And you know what? Honestly, on you, Spencer. I'm still keeping Soups as mine.
But you're still keeping who? Superman?
Superman is mine.
Yeah, no, he's like the ultimate superhero. I'm not taking anything away from him, but yeah, Spider-Man's probably tied with Batman for me. But
All right,
Superman, of course, he's one of the all-time.
We're gonna cut this off. I'm gonna start dropping people. Spencer, thank you, or Algo, thank you for coming up and asking that. Algo is an OG here. Day one. We love Algo around here. Spencer, thank you so much for co-hosting tonight. You were amazing.
Hey,
we had an amazing turnout for our.
I appreciate it.
We had an amazing turnout for our first try, especially on the backup or the new account is what I'm going to call it because this is what I think we're going to stream on. We have 100 and some thousand likes. I think a lot of that goes to Spencer. Spencer being here brought a lot of life to the live. Make sure you're following Spencer. He does his own lives. They are wonderful. He is a wonderful person.
I appreciate it.
I love him, and you will grow to love him as well. Thank you so much, Spencer. I'm going to drop you down, and I'm going to do my closing. We will have you back in September. Send me any Monday or Thursday besides the 11th. Since you've already been on here, I won't make you wait until I open up mid. Send me any of those dates, and we will put you on the schedule right now because you've already been here and invited back. So any date,
well, I'm on
it is yours. Besides the 11th, because that is AP's birthday, and I promised him that he would get that spot. So.
Oh, no worries at all. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Thanks everybody for watching.
See you, Spencer.
See you.
Guys, Spencer was amazing. We had an amazing live. We have almost 120,000 likes. We're not going to get there because I'm ending, but thank you so much. You guys make this what it is. You guys push it out into the algorithm with the likes, the shares. This was season 1, episode 1 of Next. We will go all the way till next July, and then next July I will be taking off again, and then it will be season 2, and we will go. That's just the schedule we are on, and when I am off otherwise, we will have somebody here doing the debates. We will never go without, having debates going here. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure if you're not following, you hit that follow. Make sure that you follow the people that co-host. They're putting a lot of time into this. Next time we have Hammy, then we have Lobes, then we have Benny and Volcy. I will not be here, but they will be taking over, and they are amazing. They will be doing a great job there, and it will be on this channel and also the Deconstruction channel. So it will be all the places. You can watch it wherever you want. And it will be on my YouTube. It will be everywhere that it needs to be for you guys to see it. And then we'll be back right after that with Christina Carroll. We'll have JA Debates. We'll have Joel Reed's Bible, and then we will have Justin ending out the month. It's going to be a great end of the month with them three. They are going to bring in the crowds. They will bring in the debates. And guys, Thinker, we are waiting on Thinker. We are waiting on Thinker to respond. I'm going to have to message her again because she has so many people. I'm sure she just did not see it because me and Thinker are tight. But I didn't want to bug her because she is a busy lady. She is a mom. She has her channel. She has a lot of things going on. Radio Spencer, thank you. Thank you. Board Agnostic is another one I'm trying to get on. Dark Knight next month. But then we also have people like Dr. Blitz that's trying to figure out in his schedule. Hunter Valkai trying to figure it out in his schedule. We have some other great people. Rhea, I already addressed Rhea. Rhea right now cannot be on it in the evenings because of children and work and things. But Rhea will be on here. Rhea is my number one. Like, I love her lives more than anybody, and I will always bring Rhea on. Anytime she wants to schedule, we will bring Rhea on. Thank you, Kindred. Thank you all Benny, thank you so much for streaming us over to the Deconstruction Junction. I am past time. I'm going to shut down, but I just want to make sure everybody gets the thanks that are due. Keenan, you were here Ken, you were here the entire time, and I appreciate that. You guys make this what it is. I am not taking guests right now, Ash Shu, but thank you for trying to request up. You guys are amazing. You guys will make this, and yeah, we're gonna call it a night. We're 0.4K away. Oh, we're getting there quick. So we're gonna get to 20K, and then or 120, and then I'll stop the live. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. YouTube, thank you for all that you do. My mods over there, I know we didn't have a lot of people over there, but thank you for sticking in there and holding that down. Love you all. We will see you Thursday, and we will be